just because I kind of screwed up, got here late, didn't have enough time to put in all the information. So, are you guys ready to finally start the voyage of the Sovereign?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Please.
Okay, wonderful.
No more blue balls.
Don't jinx this right before we start. So, let me give you guys a little bit of a setting description before we begin. If you guys didn't hear it earlier, I will be introing your characters one by one, describing a brief bit about your character as we get into it, and then after I describe that brief bit, I will then open the floor to you guys to tell your name, define your character, and a little bit about themselves as a character. And then from that point forward, you can role play into everything from there on. So everybody will be introduced bit by bit until we have the full crew. So first, let me explain the setting to our viewers as well as our players. The year for us is 1360 DR. This is only about 3 years after something that was called the Great Calamity War. That introduced a lot of things to Faerûn that the Faerûn, in its tradition and history, had never experienced before. Enemies from across the sea came to our shores, and people from across the sea for the first time ever, including from the mighty ancient lands of Eberron, which brought automatons and guns and magitech to Faerûn. Alien and strange during the war, but despite that, their vast numbers and might with their deities and magics allowed them to win the day and end up ending. It's been 2 years since the ending of the war, and with the ending of the war, as all wars tend to have, there is always kind of a time of calamity afterwards, where the world's trying to pick itself back up and get back into a sense of normal, everyday type of things. A time outside of war. It takes a little while for the world to transition afterwards. Lots of recovery, lots of reconstruction, lots of loss of life or loss of property or loss of self. And with that comes a rise typically in crime. Thieves' guilds are thriving more than ever. More bandits along the roads than ever before. And of course in the seas, piracy is now a booming business. Lots of veterans from the wars or lost ones from the wars who now don't have a home or a job to go back to have resorted to crime because it's quick and easy to hop into. The previous guild masters and pirate lords of the coast have taken opportunity to find these desperate people to bring into their crew to gain rapid bulk very quickly and establish almost empires on the sea and on the common roads, territories in which only their criminal organizations can run. And so for the first time in Faerûn's history, at least in recent years, in recent eras, there is now kind of turf wars happening between criminal organizations both at land and at sea. Among the shores of the western coast, which was where our story begins, a legend has begun to spread over the last 2 years. Tales along the docks and ports from all the way from the northern port city of Luskan all the way down to the gate have begun to arise these stories of a ship that doesn't seem anything special. Most times, legends of ships tell of glorious golden-framed ships or pitch-black sails or a ship that breathes fire. This ship is rather common-looking. A glorious ship nonetheless, but whenever it is described as a fearsome and intimidating ship, but not at first glance. It is not until you get close enough to the ship that you can witness the black and red flags that both fly on the topmast that you begin to know the true terror of this ship. This ship is a singular pirate ship rather than one that carries around in a fleet or swears itself to any criminal organization. This ship, as far as local times have been told and the gossip has spread, has never been caught. It has never been sunk or damaged. It has never lost a ship fight, and when this ship targets something, it can never be outrun. It is one of the fastest and crudest and most intimidating ships in the Sea of Swords. It is also the only ship to raise a red and black flag, and for those who don't know, black flag means pirate, red flag means take no prisoners. Usually you pick one or the other, and this one deliberately boasts both. Throughout the Sea of Swords and the Nelanther Islands of the southern coast, it is said that this ship is the ship that fended off the mighty Daggerford Fleet, a fleet of over 50 ships single-handedly, and also escaped the grasp of the swift schooners of the Bloodsail Pirates of the south. a group of ships that are purposefully intent of capturing ships and reselling them in the underground market, as well as its crew into the slaves. This ship cannot be stopped. It is known as the Sovereign, the Royal Heir to the Sea of Swords. And the word on the street is, if you are ever one day out on the seas and you spot a ship sailing a black and a red flag, you must immediately pray that the captain of the ship is in a good mood, because your own soul is now at stake. Or so the stories go. Of course, this ship is your guys' ship. These 4 beautiful people. On the deck of this notorious warship stands the crew. He's not here yet.
Oh, 4. Okay.
The crew's name are the Bloody Heirs, the exceptional band of misfits, brigands, criminals, crooks, witches, and madmen that the lands have come to fear were now a terrifying bunch of pirates that stood against them in defiance. With their knowledge of secret magic, insane brutality, and physical might, as well as owners of the newest weapon to Faerûn, pistols and handguns, as well as muskets. It is midsummer in the Sea of Swords, middle of the year. The Sovereign makes for port at the gate. One of the few neutral ports that allow the Sovereign to dock under oath of no crime committed while visiting. The heirs are returning from a season at sea with plenty of plunder and goods to trade and invest. The crew has been rewarded by the captain to have a month shore leave on land to rest and revive their bodies and minds once they make port, as a reward for a well-plundered season. It is nightfall, and a storm has struck in the seas. Mighty winds rip and tear through the sky. The sails have been tucked in to make sure you don't get pulled away and pulled off course. There's not much that the Sovereign can do but kind of just will out the storm. The majority of the crew has gone below deck, outside of the few that need to stay on top. Amongst this terrible storm and sea, we shift our perspective for a moment to the open water. It is dark, cold, and deadly. The gods of the sea are obviously angered at something tonight, but we're not quite sure what. If there are any religious people out at sea tonight, they are praying for forgiveness, because this isn't a normal storm. Amongst this black and deafening waves of crashing salt, there is a small chunk of lumber that floats next to the Sovereign, smashing against its hull and toppling over to the side. Within a few short moments of that piece toppling over to the side, a body comes from the water and desperately clings to the side of it, trying to stay up and above. This person has been adrift at sea for 3 days now. They're used to the water. They typically welcome it, but not tonight. Tonight, the sea is angry. The sea wishes to take him in finally and consume him completely. At least that's how he feels. For once, all of the sins that he has done over the course of his life have finally actually plagued him and are now plummeting upon his shoulders, and he is sure that despite his knowledge of the sea and his ability to withstand it, he will perish. But fate brought him a chance. He knows what he just ran into. It's a ship. It's the hull of a ship out in the middle of the Sea of Swords, where nobody should be at the moment. A very strange place for a ship, but a ship nonetheless. The person on this wreckage immediately starts to cry out for help, but the storm is too loud for anyone to hear. And he watches as a ship slowly begins to pass him, and he begins to lose all hope. But then miraculously, as if by fate and fate alone, by some higher power, a single rope flies off the port side bow and lands mere feet away from the wreckage that he's clinging to. If he abandons the float that he has been living on for the past 3 days to where he has nothing left to float on and reaches out for that rope, there's a chance that he could finally find safety and security. But that means he must abandon the one thing that's been keeping him safe. And if he misses this chance, if he misses that rope and he can't catch it in time, he's lost to the sea forever. He takes that chance. He abandons what was left of his life and clings to this rope, and he does get it just in time. The 2 men on top of the Sovereign that threw the rope because they swore they saw someone floating in this sea like a madman immediately start pulling on the rope, knowing that they've grabbed onto something. They start to pull it up to the side, and they pull onto the deck a soaked, downtrodden, half-starved man. just a shroud of whatever it once was before. Crude, cold, shivering, super dilated eyes, paranoid, and seeming to be not in his right mind. Lost in what could have just happened to him. Lost in everything that was before, and lost in everything that is happening now. He immediately curls up into a fetal position just to keep himself safe for a moment, to breathe in and understand that he truly did get on the ship. Because for a moment he doesn't believe it. And then he believes it and begins to relax. The sound of the rolling and rippling thunder tends to drown out all sound for a moment. And then finally, he can hear the muffling sounds of words. It slowly becomes clearer and clearer as his body begins to kind of get in motion again with the sway of a ship, something that has been alien to him for quite a while now. But finally it's coming back sort of like a crude dance that he once remembered as a child. And then the voices finally kick in. And as he starts to understand them. Hey! Hey, mate! Hey! Can you hear me? Hey, mate!
What?
Are you alright?
No, I was stuck on a door for a few days.
You see in front of you, finally, as your eyes begin to focus in on this dark night, the only thing that's allowing you to see are the drift lantern lights that exist on the top of this ship that you are now upon, and the occasional lightning is a burly dwarf of some kind, big build, stocky, well-toned for a dwarf even of his kind, a big beard that drags all the way to the floor, tied in 3 knots, lovely rosy red, with a big, deepening brow that seems to look angry, but from the tone of the voices you just heard, it's not angry. He looks at you a little deeper, and he brings his hands over to your face and checks you out for a minute, slaps you a little bit, and goes, "Alright, he's responding at least. He responded to my words, so he's not dead, and he's not delusioned, and he's not cursed. Let's, what should we do with him?" You look over to the person that the dwarf is speaking to, and it is a creature that you've never really seen before. Sort of looks elvish, but not quite. What kind of puts you off and is kind of a surprise to you as the lightning strikes is the front of this lovely, slender-framed woman's body is, her skin is sort of a small tint of green, and along the top of her forehead and down her nose and a little bit onto her cheeks, you swear you see scales. But not like a dragonborn, something different than a dragonborn. And it's only around that part of her body. You don't really see it anywhere else. A little bit maybe on her forearms as well. She has fanged teeth and big yellow slit eyes, and she looks over at the dwarf and goes, "We should probably put him in the brig for safekeeping until the morning comes, and we can address this with the captain and the rest of the crew."
Alright, wouldn't stick me in the brig? That ain't very nice of you.
He goes, "Sorry, don't got no choice," and then immediately knocks you out. The morning comes, and you are awoken, Wesley, with a cold splash of ice water in your face. It is a rather, obviously, unwelcome morning, but it is a morning nonetheless. It's the same guy who met with you the night before. The dwarf has come and splashed water in your face and goes, "Wake up, sleeping beauty!"
And you know, I wish I could wake up to at least a little bit prettier face than yours for once.
You know, when it comes to trying to please your captors and the deciders of life or death in their hands, you're not very good at it, lad. Why don't you just keep your pretty mouth shut until we speak to you? Wanted to wake you up because here's breakfast, and the dwarf throws into the brig that you are in, which, by the way, the brig in this ship is 12 cells long, and it is in the cargo hold at the very bottom of the ship. If there's any cold, damp, and moldy areas, it's here, and it's in the back area where they don't really keep it clean on purpose. He slides in a plate that has some nice, clean, dry bread, a cup of still crystal clean, drinkable water, and 2 pieces of dried out jerky. Way better than you would expect a prisoner to have, but also kind of a meager meal nonetheless.
Well, thanks for the meal at least. Hey, my bread ain't crawling with weevils, is it?
No, we took good care of everything we got here, including our prisoners. He looks down the cargo hold real quick, and he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a piece of cherry tart and he tosses it in. "I don't feel it's right to make anybody's last meal that disgusting."
Well, thank you kindly, son.
May whatever gods you worship have mercy on your soul, my friend.
No gods want mercy on my soul.
We'll see what the captain thinks. And he trots off. You look around as you munch on your plates, and there's nothing about this cargo hold that looks significant or important. There's nothing that would tell you what kind of ship this is, what ship it is, if it is Imperial, if it is one of the Gate, if it's another pirate crew. You have no way to tell what ship you're on and who just rescued you, and if you are in a worse fate or not. You have been told by this dwarf that it sounds like you're on your final day of death. Not the most happiest thing, but hey, you've gotten out of tighter places before. Wesley, would you like to please describe your character to the crew before we take any steps forward?
Just my general appearance, or...
Give him your name, what you are, and give a general synopsis of yourself, yes.
Alright, am I... Pull up the actual name.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we change it to something a little more relaxed than this. There we go. Now, to help time as he looks up everything else. Obviously, there was a storm last night, and you guys have been down a boatswain for a while. So you've been trusting the crew to handle things themselves when it comes to in times of crises. When the storm first hit, of course, immediately all of you as officers made sure that everybody was shipshape and good to go. But you trust the crew to do their job, and they did really well, and they never had to come down and ask for extra help outside of occasional 1 or 2 men. It's been a rather sleepless night for the doctor, however, as she has been dealing with 3 or 4 crew members who sadly have come down with a bad case of scurvy and maybe even a tad bit of food poisoning, because the last dock they went to, even though she tried time and time again to tell them not to eat at the local tavern, because it's known to have corrupted food, they did so anyway to have a night of partying and have come to the ship sick. You have contained the disease, you have contained it from spreading in case they had anything infectious, but the best way to teach these crewmen how to not do this again is not to instantly cure them, but to let them go through it by natural means. You have allowed them to do so in the comfort of the beds in your medical bay. However, the storm last night proved perilous, and there were several crewmen that were injured last night during that storm, and you're looking after them as well this morning. You had to also take care of the sick and strap them in so that they didn't go flying from one side of the ship to the other during the storm last night. So if anybody's had lack of sleep last night, it was definitely you. You guys have all woken up bright and early before even the sun came out to do your normal meeting like normal. Usually this is in the captain's quarters, but today he left a post-it note for the first mate, a nice little piece of parchment with a dagger on the front of the captain's quarters where he usually sticks his knife. Same spot that's been getting deeper every day that he's done it. That says, "I don't feel like coming to the meeting today, you guys talk it out." So you guys get to have your own meeting on the top of the crew next to the helmsman, who has been running the ship in the meantime. Top deck looks perfectly in ship shape, a little bit of damage, nothing too bad. Lost some rope, 1 or 2 cannonballs fell off deck from some lazy idiots who left them out, but it's all minimal. It could have gotten a lot worse. You guys are going to meet together to discuss what the day looks like ahead. The captain did leave a schedule, a set of bullets for you guys to discuss. All you have to do is intro them, and you guys can discuss them before the rest of the day begins. Before we get to you guys, though, are you ready to introduce your character?
Yes. So my character's name is Genie. No last name, just Genie. I'm a water genasi, a ranger. I'm a sword and bow, mainly. And I think that's about all I can tell him for the time being.
For the time being, yeah, I think that's a good synopsis. So, first person to arrive before anybody else, and it's the same every morning because he's the only guy who seems to really take care of a schedule, is a lovely gentleman. Big, deep trench coat, wide-rimmed hat, has a scar to prove it, has a nice swag in his step, but not necessarily because he's bragging. It's because he's kind of earned the rights to have a swag. He has had a lot of experience over his career as a pirate or a brigand in general, and he's actually developed a bit of a walk to himself that makes him natural on a boat but awkward on land. He struts up first like he does every morning, takes a minute to take a shot of whiskey or rum, whichever he's keen to at the day, smokes his lovely, unique cigarette or cigar that allows him to pack it with any powder he pleases. It's a permanent pipe, but just not one that you pack at the beginning. You pack the whole thing through and you blow it out as if it was a common cigarette, but instead of a pipe. You've checked the morning, looks nice, crisp and clean. The sails were tied up like they should be. They've been unfurled, they're checking for patches. All seems well, a lot better than a typical storm would bring to the Sovereign. The Bloody Ears have done it yet again and have done a fantastic job keeping the ship alive. Second to show up, in his typical half-drudged walking self, tripping over maybe two or three steps, is your third in command. He comes trumbling up, looking like he didn't get a lot of sleep last night. But, of course, you know that it had nothing to do with sleep. It had to do with the fact that he had to argue with himself all night before he could go to said sleep. Mark, why don't you start first and introduce your character real quick?
I play the character Robert Ramirez. He is primarily a fighter, dual rapier swords. Sort of a Spanish-esque, I guess, personality. You know, the accent, stuff like that. So I'll be doing my best not to butcher it. And of course, even though he has higher ups, he tends to take command of the deck when the captain's not around. Just sort of managing the crew.
And Grim, since you're the one that just trudged up like you haven't slept in 3 days, let's go ahead and hear your character description, if you please.
So, I'm playing a character named Drexus, who is a blue tiefling and is a blood hunter. Also has the soul of his brother. Hence the arguments.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of Celtic, so expect a lot of...
Wonderfully weird Celtic accents. It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna try my best.
Yes, everybody's gonna give their best effort. So, Robert, you watch as Drexus, per the norm, it's actually quite a common thing for him to be second up here, which you would expect of the sailing master. To coming up, sort of rubbing his temples a little bit, keeping his head down away from the morning sun a bit, and you know that they must have gotten into an argument again. Go ahead and roleplay it out a little bit for me,
Morning then? Oh, come on. What did you two argue about last night?
What haven't we fucking argued about?
Just saying. Seems to be in a nightly thing with you. I think you're more, married couple than brothers.
You would think, but Albion standards are way higher than anyone on the ship. We're probably in this entire plane of existence. I heard that. Shut up.
Yeah, well, the standards can be higher than, our lovely nurse.
What's that? You hear as she comes up the stairs, looking at you with a rather smug look on her face. Hands on her hips, you can tell the bags carrying bags underneath her eyes showcases that she's had one hell of a night and she is not in the mood for sarcasm this morning. She carries a nice cup of herbal tea in her left as she walks up, her tail flicking back and forth, strumming along the ringings of the rails as you come up. She walks past Drexus and kind of gets a little uncomfortably in his space for just a brief moment, and then leans herself up against the railing next to Drexus. Sips a little bit of her tea, looks over the crew, sees everything's good, and then looks back to you for confirmation on what you just said. Ayla, would you please introduce your character?
So my character is a purple tiefling, and she's the doctor of the ship, and her name is Rosalie Nightshade.
So Rosaline, who comes to the meetings when she's good and ready, and no one really can tell her otherwise, has shown up remarkably early for herself. She's usually the last one to get here, not necessarily lazily or defiantly, because she does wish to be part of the crew. She's a good officer. She's the best doctor you guys could ever ask for, but She knows that when it comes to the morning minutes, it's not as important as if she has to take care of a patient or get her goddamn tea ready. And you guys have all come to respect that. Robert, you will remember when she first came onto the crew that it was rather awkward the first time you went down to try and speak to her about her arriving late at the meeting. And you remember that ever since that day, you don't really question it anymore. And you shudder at the quick memory of what happened a little later after you so insulted her and she wanted to reply in kind. Ayla, go ahead and say good morning to your fellow officers.
So what was that I heard you say?
Here we go.
Believe me, I said good morning, Senora.
Oh.
Drag-
Well, you can just drag your happy ass out of my infirmary for the next week.
Senorita, you must be joking. I mean, I didn't say anything rather insultive about you, or I just mentioned you to Drexus, and please don't look at me like that.
As this all happens, you hear, well, here's my lovely happy family, like normal, and you guys hear the big boom, boom, and you all know the first mate's on her way.
Oh boy.
She comes up, again, to anybody else, they would kind of take a moment back in awe and fear of the woman who has just stepped up on the top deck near the helm to speak to the rest of her crewmates. A massive woman shouldn't be as quote-unquote gargantuan as she is. You would expect her, most people would see her and expect that she has some sort of Goliath in her blood, yet she is 100% flesh and blood human, and is very proud of that. Her blazing red hair blowing around wildly like normal, unkempt, and somewhat, I wouldn't say like knotted and dirty necessarily, because it is decently put together, but messy nonetheless. But there's like method to that madness. A fire in her eyes, and always a bright, cheery look on her face, whether that is out of excitement, aggression, or simply just being happy to be alive. She trumps up to the rest of you guys, as a typical morning would be. The last one here is surprising, but the fact that she showed up is what is expected. Megan, would you please introduce your character?
Sure, I play Max Marauder Mayhem. She is an incredible human barbarian, rounds out the crew with a amazing, stellar, -1 intelligence. We're doing good on the smarts here on the boat today.
Ship.
On the boat.
And
On the boat.
So, you all note that as she walks up with her nice, cheery expression like normal, which most of you have gotten accustomed to, and it's something that you look forward to every morning. That expression hasn't changed on her, but there's a little sense of stress on her face that is not normal. You also note that she's carrying the captain's dagger and a parchment, which means, once again, the captain's not attending the minutes and he's left a note.
Yep, he was late again. I know. I'm angry, but it's okay because he does it. It's third time this week, and I'm sorry about it. But we all know how it is, and that sometimes you just can't. You just can't. Anyways, how's everybody doing in the morning?
I'm not drunk enough for this.
You're never drunk enough.
I know!
Wait. You're angry? I mean, how can I tell? How can anyone tell?
Yes, that's correct. But I have a knife in my hand. So, sort of parchment in one hand, knife in another, rock in a hard place. I don't know.
Just give me the parchment.
Yeah.
I'm afraid you're gonna hurt yourself trying to read.
Please, I have a full house down
I was holding it upside down. It's not really my fault. If we're being honest, please continue.
I don't think it's anyone's fault, honestly.
Megan, you will be getting the bullets of the paper that I gave you. You will be getting those bullets via text. They will be on your phone, and so you can go off of them one at a time to discuss with the group.
All right. So, item number 1. How's everybody doing?
there. I can get more sleep.
Nasty storm last night, right? Kind of gross. Yes. Okay. All right. You guys, you have tea. What is it? Okay, alright. Anyways. Number 2. Dude, they're just words, Sam. I can't read.
I can only type so fast.
I did Baldur's Gate, dock, northern site. That's all the paper says. I swear that's what it says.
Mark, you immediately hear that and know that something that the captain discussed with you and Max earlier this week, she may have forgotten at this point, was that the dock that you guys were going to be arriving at Baldur's Gate when you arrive in 2 days from now is going to be dock number 9 on the northern side of the city. That is where you've been reserved, and that is where you have to park. If you don't, you will be on illegal grounds, and you will be fined when you make port.
Dock number 8,
Number 9
right?
on the north side.
We're going to number 8? That's what he said. That's the one that comes after 7, right?
There are many numbers that come after 7. It's
Yes. Yes, dear.
there's. Don't hurt yourself,
Alright,
please.
alright.
I beg you. It's dock number 9 on the north side.
That one comes after 8, right?
Yes, and before 9.
Okay, alright. Number...
9 doesn't come before 9.
Hold on. Give me a second. I'm trying to read. Essentials, trading, and getting more ammunition.
It's there. It should be there. It says it's.
Agreed. Once we dock at Baldur's Gate, we're going to have to go and requisition some more ammunition, since also apparently we lost a few cannonballs last night. So,
Who was the idiot
How
that
did
didn't turn
we-
down?
I don't know.
Not it.
I don't think it was either of us. Or either of you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was busy having a conversation with the arse in my head. Fuck you.
Number 3, remind crew of 1 month time offshore leave.
I don't have to explain that one. I mean, that's pretty much
Sure.
something.
Alright. Oh, 4th item. This one's exciting. We have a prisoner below deck.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, that's what it says. I don't know. We have a prisoner below deck.
When do we ever get prisoners?
Well, I can tell you there's one below deck.
Now, was that written on the parchment?
That's
or
written on the
did-
No, I just
or
have
did you
yes,
did you
no,
make it
I'm
up?
not making it up. I'm not making it up. I don't know.
I'm gonna lean in to look.
It says exactly what she says.
Yeah.
It says 4th item. We have a prisoner below deck.
Yeah.
No other orders, just that you have one.
Okay, so with this interesting bit of information, what are we gonna do with it?
Well, I mean, not to be maybe a bit too trusting of said prisoner, but we have been in need of a boatswain for quite a long while now. And I was thinking, big happy family, always have time and space to add another to the rank, and
Your Honor, you see that flag? You see that flag?
he sort of lax about it, isn't he?
A little too lax, if you ask me. Either you go down there and crush his head with your massive fists, or we can send her down there to torch from before.
You know what?
Take me!
It's alright. It's alright.
I'm trying to go with her words.
You guys, as you guys are talking about this and figure out what the heck this is all about and what you're going to do with it, you hear some gruff rumbling and tumbling from top deck, and the ones closest to the top would probably be Meg and Grim. You two look over onto the main deck before anybody else does, and you see 2 of your crewmen, let me bring this sheet up, a dwarf by the name of Balderas. He's one of the bigger, brutish people of your crew, one of the muscles. He can usually pull topsails all by himself and tie them, and he's been known, along with wonderful Mad Max over here, to muscle up the anchor rather than using the crank if they feel like it on any given day. Along with one of the newer members of your crew, a Yuan-Ti pureblood, which is a Lamia human hybrid by the name of Zilfana. She is a new member of your guys' crew that is technically a necromancer. The two of them are bringing up someone you've never seen before. He is struggling as much as he might, but he looks gangly and rotted and effed up as all get out. I would like all four of you to make a perception check for me real quick. If I remember correctly, perception is intelligence.
Yeah.
Is that right? So if you have an intelligence modifier,
No,
add that
wisdom.
to wisdom. If you have a wisdom modifier, add that to it. I'm assuming that Meg does not have the highest wisdom.
It's a +1.
Oh, it's better than Nate. Not bad, not bad actually. It's okay.
Thank you very much.
Mine's a dirty 20.
Dirty, okay.
I got an 8.
An 8.
So better than negative 1.
10.
I got a 4.
Mark, what'd you get?
A 17 plus 2.
17. Oh yeah, so dirty and what was yours? 4. Okay, so Mark and you two both. So basically everybody outside of Megan. You're able to determine right away that it is a water genasi.
I didn't even know it was alive.
That immediately makes you think that this prisoner could be from the pirate group from down south, the Bloodsails. They are known to be a water genasi crew. It would be rather odd for the Bloodsails to be this far north because they don't like getting close to Baldur's territory. They don't like to be anywhere near the gate. They like to stay down in the open water near the Nelanthers where there's lots of freedom to kind of do whatever the hell you feel like, and there's not a lot of police authority to justify what happens on the sea. But it's not very common for you guys to find water genasi out on the open water without other ships nearby. And so unless there was a shipwreck or something nearby, there's a very good chance that this guy could be from the Bloodsails, a spy, an informant, somebody who's been following you, who knows. And it still perplexes you all day yesterday until you all went to sleep before the storm hit. No followers, no other ships in sight, no other predictions of people along the trade routes. You guys were going in between two safer trade routes, which is why you hit the storm so heavy, but the storm can take it where other ships can't because of its denser build. It's how you guys can weather storms that would crush other ships. How the hell did this guy get here? They bring him forward and look up to you guys. Here's the prisoner Captain asked for, and they rip Wesley. He grabs you by the front of your hair and rips your head up for that so that they can show you off to him. It is a water genasi, but he is not in good shape. He is waterlogged, thin, messed up. His clothes are rotted and torn away and crusty from seawater. He has been in the water for a while. So maybe not as professional as you guys may have thought.
Oh, poor thing.
Oi, Jeffy, Baldy, I thought I told y'all to throw corpses overboard.
I'll plug him now.
Max, it's not a corpse, it breathes.
Oh, shit.
Found him floating across the Black Seas last night, thought he was dead until they grabbed the rope. Pulled him up and he immediately responded. Figured we could keep him alive until you all saw him and decided what to do with him.
May I have blood samples?
Sure, after we get him hot and healthy.
Take your own blood samples. Or better yet, take it out of Krusty here.
Wesley, take 3 points of bludgeoning damage as Beldris brings an open palm across the side of your head. He goes, "Y'all need to shut up like I told you before."
He's got jokes. This one's fun, isn't he?
He was
Come
carrying
on.
this though.
I know.
Figured you might want to take a look. You have to come down to center deck to take a look at anything. You guys gonna come down from the top?
I go down.
Okay, so everybody goes down. First mate has to address things first unless she gives permission for somebody else to take charge. Are you gonna take care of this matter yourself, or do you want somebody else to do it?
I'll just look at him. You're a feisty one, aren't you?
Hey, and you're a big one. What's the difference?
Come on,
So
a woman's
rude.
weight? Really? Really? Is that the necessary joke here? Come on. We drug you out of the damn water, didn't we? We put you up for the night. They could kill you. You see that red flag up behind me? That means something, bud.
Roll an intimidation check for me, Megan.
I don't know if you think you know what it means.
I don't know what it means.
Yeah,
What does a red flag mean, Mark?
No prisoners.
Yeah. And yet we have one.
We have one. I vote That we
What
can
is
figure
it?
out.
Sometimes since I've seen
Strength?
water.
No.
Intimidation should be underneath your abilities, and it will tell you what modifier you need for it.
That'd be
It's gonna be
charisma.
charisma.
Be charisma.
Charisma.
Okay, so I got a 14.
14. So I would like you to roll d20 real quick against 14. Tell me what you get.
18.
18. So you see her, and 3 things ping into you right away. She could break me in half. She probably will, but I'm dead anyway. You respect and are technically intimidated, but at this point you're so FML that you're not really. It's not really taking effect like it should. You do know, by the way, though, for the first time ever, that they do have a red flag up. Red flag means no prisoners, meaning that when they fished you out of the water earlier, it was not to actually technically keep you alive.
No, gotta say that's my first time noticing it. Kind of been locked down in your brig. A little bit dirty down there. You could do with good cleaning.
That's what she said. No.
And this is why. No, and this is why. This is why we put the caption over 18 on the channel. We're playing pirates. You need to expect us to be like pirates. Yeah. Okay. Woo! Off to a good start.
I bit like your mother, right? Anyways, you're a feisty one, and I appreciate it. Go for it.
You guys,
I'm just
as
gonna plug him and throw him overboard.
Why?
Well,
I
At
really
least
think
they're
you should take a
on
look at
first.
this first, mate, before you make any more
Fine, I'll
decisions.
shake him and you can have the
You
corpse.
take the soggy
Thank you.
piece of fabric, it looks like it's part of his clothes,
Mhm.
and you unfurl it to see a sigil, a badge on it. It is of a sun covered in blood with 2 drops that drip off of it, and the 2 drops change in shape to serpents. This is not a Bloodsail pirate. This man is from one of the most ruthless and threatening pirate crews on the Sea of Swords. Technically, in all concepts, somebody that could be considered an actual threat or rival to the Sovereign. A group of pirates known as the Bloodletters. They have been more notorious about killing people and no prisoners than the Sovereign ever has. And their bit is never that they necessarily capture. They kind of just destroy. They don't plunder, they don't steal, they don't make deals, they don't try to make a common living out of this. They kind of terrorize and rip apart everything they find. They are ruthless predators. And their declaration to the sea has always been that they are the alphas, and all that they see around them are the betas. This guy's from that crew.
Bit of a demolitions expert, aren't you? What are you, Bloodletter, doing all the way out here?
Ah, so I see you recognize my symbol.
The question? What's he doing?
Ah, decided I'd have a nice float. Got lost.
Hey, works for me.
I mean, you're dead anyway, so
Yeah.
might as well throw him overboard.
Oh, what are you talking about, lizard?
Oh no! No.
No, hold on. Ayla, go ahead and give me a intimidation check.
You're dead.
It's your
And it's-
charisma. You're pulling this guy out way more snotty than I thought you were gonna be. I thought you were gonna be a little more desperate, and you're coming off more like a dick. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I'm
It's
actually
charisma,
impressed.
you said?
Yeah, charisma. Intimidation should be charisma.
My charisma is a +4, so 14.
14. So you hear these words, and where typically all it would do is set you off. Like immediately just be like twitch and be like,
I slap
I
him
want
with
him
my
in
tail?
my quarters where I can poison him until he dies. Instead of that, as he insults you, you have a moment of empathy, and you look at his eyes and you see innate fear, rather than just being a cock-ass about everything. Like he's talking this way, being a doctor and being a person who's a study of magics and the human mind and psyche, you're getting from him that this is sort of like a defense mechanism. It's not necessarily that he is trying to be actually abhorrent and stiff-headed with all of you because he wants to make a statement. this is the only thing he knows how to cope with desperation. And as you look into his eyes, you notice that is exactly where he is at this moment. He is terrified, he is desperate, and this is the only way he knows how to respond appropriately.
Cute. I bet you could probably come up with something better.
I could call you a she-devil.
You're not wrong.
You wouldn't be
She's
wrong.
on that.
All of you just go, nah.
Yes.
You have the crew around the ship just go,
Not that you recognize me, do you? Well,
I
Should
mean,
you be important?
Shite piece.
You seem like you're gonna corpse that floats in the ocean.
As he laughs with his head back, I want all of you to make a perception check again.
That is under very 20.
Dirty? Okay.
A 9.
Perception.
9. Yeah.
12.
17.
17. So, Mark and Grim, you are going to be the ones who notice this. As he kind of laughs in his dried out, hoarse, salt-ridden throat. So it's not intimidating in any way. He tries to be, but it's more, laughing sort of desperately. You know a brand right on the cusp of his lower right neck. A tiny little insignificant mark that when he's leaning forward, the color of what's left of his jacket and everything would hide it. But when he leans back like that, you see it. This is not just a member of the Bloodletters. This is the captain. This is the one who has been one of the most threatening bodies in the entire Sea of Swords. The man who commands the Bloodletter ship, one that is known as the Blood Viper, that skirts through the city so hard and so quickly, it has a ram on the front of the ship to destroy ships by simply ramming into them and tearing them in two. This man is someone that you've been told, and as far as you guys have ever known in your career as pirates, this is someone you're supposed to fear dreadfully. And he is a soaking, starved, sobbing, wet mess in front of you. Not even able to stand on his own two legs, gurgling encrusted salt in his throat, laughing in defiance at you. And the only thing you can think in your heads is, what the hell happened? Because he has also gone from the most notorious pirate to being a waterlogged prisoner on your ship alone. There were no skirts of ships, no bow, no debris, there was nothing. The other day and last night, no reports. But somehow he was fished out of the water on one piece of wood alone, and he is now just here. He should have been protected, he should have had his whole crew, this is very, very uncommon. Very uncommon. And scary. Appropriately, the two of you, are now very careful. Throwing him overboard might not be the best idea. At this point, throwing him overboard might not be the best idea. Because being a water genasi and being who he is, he could take that into his advantage rather than be at a disadvantage. So yeah, this is Captain Genie of the Bloodletters.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Okay, so you note his facial change and his sense in body. He kind of leans forward a little bit now. You note that his arm has swung a little bit towards one of his rapiers, and his face has changed. So you note that Roberts, that this man in the big hat and coat, his body language has changed. He recognizes you. You don't notice a body change in him, even though he also acknowledges it, because he's too busy right now with the other part of his brain going, you know what that is, right? You know what that is, right? Hey, you know what that is, right?
I'll be damned.
Who is he?
later.
Tell them.
Who is he? Come
Tell
on.
them who I am.
Yeah, tell us who he is.
I'll tell you after you slit his throat and throw his body back in the
No.
No, come on.
Swear?
Wait. Fucking wait.
You really want to do that?
Alright, you know
I'll
what?
do it myself if it pleases you.
You can go ahead and speak to them then.
Oh, come on. You know who I command.
Boy, you dried up midget. Why the bloody fucking hell are you in the water? Looking half dead!
Ah,
Who'd you piss off? Who'd you piss on?
Who is he?
Another intimidation check there, Grim.
This sad, sniveling excuse of a Water Genasi happens to be Captain Genie of the Bloodletters.
The whole crew immediately goes, no way. They're just like, oh. Like, everybody starts to kind of shuffle and be in a bit of a panic. Even Beldris, who's the big buff dwarf, is now kind of going and holding a little bit at a distance.
Do I need to go get a
Zilphana,
syringe?
who's the Yanti, doesn't seem to really understand what's going on and goes, and who is that man? And Beldris goes, just keep yourself wide. This one's going to spit tentacles out of his back.
Holy hell, you're famous, mate.
That's why I suggest we cut his throat and throw him back in the brig.
Ah,
He's
come
a man,
on.
he's a man not to be trusted.
Now with the quartermaster, we should end this right quick.
Oh,
The
you guys know
intimidation
that.
check that you did on you, asking who you are and why you're in the water, worked. You feel a little at ease, you feel a little attacked, and for a moment, because now the desperation is seeping through your body rather than trying to put up a front, you actually break a little and you give them a little bit of information.
Crew mutiny.
Light foul hits, they were.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, have your moment of thinking.
I
We're
draw,
not in Nathan.
I draw one of my swords.
Let's climb to the mast and play target practice.
I could syringe.
Target practice.
No, we're not doing any of that.
We need to hit this quickly.
First mate, what?
Let's listen to
We're
the
not
big one.
doing any of that.
Ma'am, what are we doing?
He's too valuable.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Did you just have an idea?
All of a sudden,
Give me a minute. It hurts a little bit, all right?
all of a sudden the captain's door kicks open, and the whole crew, you note, everyone, including these guys, all of a sudden, not necessarily stand at attention, but you all take a step back, and every head has now looked towards that door. Again, you have no idea still what ship you're on or who you're a part of.
Okay.
Out from the door comes, in your view, a man completely clothed from head to toe. Deep cowl, thick gloves, big strapping boots, a long-bodied and buttoned-up coat that hides all features, including any sense of skin. A mask with an X on it with big piercing lensed eyes within the mask. And the only thing that's really dynamic about it is that the coat in itself and the gloves are trimmed, and you swear to be real gold that is inlaid within silken fabric, as it shines as the sun hits it. He also has the sigil, a symbol of flames with a ruby gem in the center of the mask and on each cusp of his gloves. They also decorate on the trims of the boots. He has a lovely black leather belt that has a golden buckle. He has 2 rapiers, one on each hip, and he's got 2 flintlocks hitched to this side and 2 flintlocks hitched to this side underneath the big jacket coat. You can see the handles just sticking out from the sides. He kicks the door open, takes 2 steps out, again, his body not really showing off anything, not the biggest character, maybe from your recollection anywhere from about 5'8" to about 5'10". Shorter than most of these intimidating people that you've seen. He looks around and goes, "Morning."
Attention, Captain on deck.
I said morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Captain.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Walks up to the lovely red-headed lady, and you see him clap her something fierce on her back. Just, I want the morning report.
Well, as good as usual, despite the fact that you seem to forget that sometimes I don't read very well.
I wrote it in big letters.
The B's and the D's get a little mixed around sometimes, but
Would
other
it help
than
if
that,
I make the B's lowercase and the D's uppercase?
you know, they say Comic Sans is a really good font for dyslexics.
I'll try and do that next time.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's better than the first time I did wingdings for you. Looks over at the gentleman in the large top hat. Looks like everything up here is shipshape. Not a bad job, Sailing Master, Quartermaster. Impressive over the last night's storm. Hardly slept a wink. Sounds like it's the same for our lovely Chief Medical Officer. Now, did you take care of all the bullets?
I was about to put one in him.
Excuse me?
He wasn't.
Oh, you. Yeah, hi.
Hello.
This strange, odd person trumps over and kneels down to where the mask is, only about a foot from your face. His head tilts a little and goes, "No, I really wanted to talk to you last night, but I figured it'd be inappropriate to have a one-on-one conversation before you met everybody else. What do you think of my crew?
A bunch of oddballs.
Do you know what ship you're on?
Not really.
Do you know who I am?
No.
That's
Do you know
surprising.
who I am?
Oh yeah, I know who you are. He stands up and he puts his hand out to the side to show you the crew. And I would like to welcome you to the Sovereign.
Wait, what?
Welcome.
What?
Yeah.
Welcome, me.
That's right.
Okay.
You did this.
Oh no, I didn't.
You did this?
No, I
You
didn't.
did this.
No, I didn't.
Oh
Welcome.
my god.
No, I didn't.
Hmm.
Hey, you can't get mad at me. Beldris is the one who pulled him out of the water. The dwarf goes, "Fuck, why are you looking at me? I just tried to help a lad out. Didn't realize he was the scum of the seas. I would have left him in the water." He goes, "No, I didn't want you to. This is our new boatswain."
You did this. So you.
Wait, what?
He stands up and suddenly he stomps. Everybody roll a d4.
You me?
Huh?
2.
1.
Everybody, whatever you roll, you take that amount of kinetic damage.
Hey, what?
Oh. Everybody shudders and feels a shock go through their bones. Just up. As the captain stomps and goes, "Did I say something funny?"
No, sir.
No, sir.
Didn't think so. I'm glad you're not laughing either.
I'm more surprised than anything.
All of a sudden his body swoops down to where the mask is maybe 2 inches from your face. And he is going to attempt to intimidate you just with his body motion.
He gives him a kiss on the face.
So I just rolled a 27 to intimidate you. You shudder in your boots, and if you had any shit left in your body, you probably lost it.
Kisses.
You hear the voice echoing from beneath the mask, and you swear you see like steam or smoke coming out from the sides, and he goes, "I have every right to kill you. I have every right to drown you. Even though you're a water genasi, I can find a way to do it. I have every right to have you be tortured and your naked parts slowly until you pay for death, and we won't give it to you for the next 3 years. I have every right." But I'm not. What I'm actually going to do is give you a second chance. You see, you lived a life that you couldn't get yourself out of. And of course, everybody can hear this. You lived a life of destruction, death, mayhem. Because you fell so deep into power you didn't know how to get out of it. And it finally caught up with you when your crew realized that they could have all that for themselves instead of just you. And now you're left with 2 choices. 2 choices. You can end it all right now, which I know you're terrified of because I know what's waiting for you. Or you can be my new boatswain and be in charge of the top deck. Which means I promote you from nothing to an officer. You're going to be immediately a happy family with the rest of us here and be partners with our lovely crew. Did I stutter, Roberts?
No, Captain.
We're really lovely folk.
So, I ask you, Gene, Captain of the Bloodletters, what say you?
I say yes. Thank you.
Immediately, you see him pull his glove out, and all of you are shocked at that because all of you have only ever seen him do this once. And the only time you've ever seen this is when you joined the crew. He reaches forward and goes, "Better shake on it." Eldris very calmly and quietly cuts the ropes that are binding your hands from the ties that they have, so you have your free hand right. And you shake his hand or not. As soon as your skin touches his, you feel a pulse run through your body real quick, and then it's back to normal, the shitty feeling you were feeling before. Welcome to the crew.
Thank you.
Puts the glove back on. You noticed that his skin was a very unhealthy looking pale white. This man almost never sees the sun. He's always wearing clothes. But it was very strong. It was a very powerful grip, albeit kind of cold. And you detected magic. You just don't know how much or what kind. He puts it on. But your whole perspective has changed. This is the only ship on the seas that you were ever afraid of. This is the captain that you have heard is a god on the sea. This is the crew that when you were running around in the on the Blood Viper, you never wanted to run into them. And you have now just become one of their officers. You also were a right dick to everybody on ship a few seconds ago, and now you're part of their happy family.
Captain,
Yeah,
would you like me to take a look at him? Get him healthy?
absolutely. We got to figure out a name for you. I don't like Genie.
Hey, Balkans, you said he was floating on something?
There's Door.
We'll call him Bill.
Captain looks down at you. Captain. Why are you laughing? Alright, Dor. Welcome to the crew. We had a right terrible storm last night, and our crew did a really good job of keeping everything safe, but we lost a few things in the inventory. There's some sails that need trimming, also some knits that need to be done. Make sure the crew sees to it, and as soon as you're right healthy after being checked with the medical officer and finishing the morning minutes with the rest of you, the boatswain missed out on that, so you need to go through those bullets again, please, with the exception of the fourth one. You don't have to talk about the fourth one anymore because that's been dealt with. As soon as you're done with that, see to the medical officer, she'll take care of everything you need. As soon as that's done, send him up to the captain's quarters. Dismiss! Turns around, trumps into his captain's quarters, and slams the door. Belle just lets go of your hair and head, obviously, and helps you up. Remarkably kind. And so does the Lady Viper. And you look at them expecting a lot of nastiness, but they actually look at you quite kindly and say, "Welcome to the crew, mate. Good to have you.
Thank you.
I know you may be a little uncomfortable. A lot of us were in the same position you were before we came in. You're gonna like it, I promise you." Right. And he walks away. The Viper lady does not meet the same kindness. Looks at you and goes, she leans in and her fangs begin to drip a little bit of poison, and she goes, "So much as we're wrong, I'll take punishment for the captain in exchange for what I'm going to do with you. Understand?"
So you heard the captain.
Yes, first thing, sorry. And she walks off with Belgis. The rest of the crew goes back to their normal duties. Now the 5 officers are standing awkwardly mid-deck.
I'm going from. Congratulations, mate. He owns you now.
Choice.
I always believed in you.
Okay.
You might want to start apologizing this time.
I'm sorry.
Begging. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
begging. The only one she doesn't own this ship is probably my brother.
That's probably it. Yeah, I'd be pretty angry. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Me and my tenants. You don't really own us, but you are helping us though. Hey, you have some of my blood. You're welcome.
Am I the only one about this year on this one?
Oh, absolutely.
Seems that you're the only one she holds the balls of.
Oh no,
Oh
you're
no, I
nuts.
hold it definitely.
No, not the
Yes.
only half tenant.
I don't even want to know what's going on there.
No, you really don't.
She's instrumental with
Her
us.
voice keeps changing. Why?
Roll D20 real quick.
5.
You watch as a spectral demon pops out of the side of his head, a weird machination of what you see before you. Remarkably similar, yet subtly different. A different set of scales and horns on this person's body. A rather imposing presence. Sort of a mix of, is the color going to be red?
He's alive and he's really white.
No, but the spiritual form.
Oh,
what
spiritual
hue
form.
were you thinking?
He's gray with a little bit of purple fire to it.
So a gray and violet smoke kind of emanating around it as it leaves out. Go ahead and talk, please.
I still think you're a piece of shit. You better not piss anyone else off either, or trust me, I will turn you inside out. Right back again.
Oh, looks like that already happened to you, mate.
Remember, Albion, if you touch him, you have to deal with the captain.
It's not rightly your job either, is it?
I'm talking to you,
That's what heck of it. That was awesome.
I mean, in a general sense, probably you
What's
are.
going on with the
However,
thing?
School personality.
Sailing master,
ooh, you're in trouble.
we need you at the cargo hold.
Alright, thank you.
If you get
If you want to see one, I would recommend following her to the infirmary. I'll be along shortly with bringing fresh clothes. And apologizing!
Boy, do I really have to go with her? Alone?
I mean,
Feels a little rapey.
it's sort of captain's orders.
Let's get this over with.
So, Wesley and has to deal with the lack of inventory to see what you lost in the storm the night before as per your duties. All that's left is now the quartermaster and first mate top deck. Brief discussion between the two of you before we shift scenes to the medical bay.
You really ought to, perhaps, maybe. You know what? Never mind. I think that we're done here. However, I do have a favor to ask. No, it's real easy. It's just, I was talking to the captain a little bit about the reading stuff. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing to admit in front of everybody, but I was kind of hoping that maybe you would help me learn how to read a little bit better.
I mean, it's a reasonable request, of course.
Okay, anyways.
When you made your character, did you have to pick any known languages?
Probably common.
So just common, you think? Not anything else? Okay. And what did you have to pick anything unique or no?
Actually, I think I know. Let's see. I know.
Because everybody I think here would know common.
Yes, and I think I also know Elvish too.
Okay.
Oh, I know this as well for some reason.
Okay, so well, no, I mean tongue is
Yeah,
different
yeah,
than reading,
exactly.
right? So like you can know the dialect without knowing how to read
Right.
anything. So, okay, so you probably try to teach her reading common first. Okay, cool. Okay. So we're now going to transition for a brief moment to below deck at the medical bay. Wesley, you follow this purple devil, as you called her earlier, into her medical bay, where you see some rather sickly folk strapped into their beds. To anybody else, it would seem like a terrifying prospect, but you know that that's because she didn't want her patients falling over during the storm the night before. You were captain of a ship, you know how this goes. There's some other new people as well that seem to have been injured from the night before. But this is a rather large medical bay, far larger than what you had on your ship. Your ship had 2 beds and there were bedrolls on the floor, and you were told to strap in and get better. You've got a chief medical officer with a cabinet and desks. A third of the medical bay is basically her office. There are cupboards upon cupboards upon cupboards of vials of liquids and gems and powders and plants and bits of lizards and bugs and all sorts of things. You would swear, if this was a medical bay, that this looks like a witch's closet, but it's not, or at least you hope not.
It's a culture.
All the men laying in the beds.
It's an upgrade for later.
All the men laying in the beds and women laying in the beds look well looked after and quite healthy. And all their sutures, and if they have any kind of bindings or anything, is well tended to, well done. This is a very clean and sterile place, and she seems to be remarkably efficient. However, when she whips around to look at you, she has a very devilish grin on her face. You have to give him a full medical checkup before he can be considered green to start his duties. You've done this with wow! You've done the medical check on everybody here. Any new crew member that has ever come in onto this crew one way or another, or anybody who's ever left, cannot leave the ship or be welcomed onto the ship without your green thumb of approval. And this is per orders of the captain. He trusts you exponentially in making sure that everybody is in the best condition they can possibly be. I want you to go ahead and roll me a medicine check, please. D20 and medicine should be under one of your abilities.
Yes, I actually saw that.
Medicine is wisdom.
Yes, wisdom.
So go ahead and roll that D20 and tell me what your wisdom modifier is on that.
I didn't die.
It's a 17 plus 1.
Okay, so just by looking at him with your medical expertise, he is starved, obviously. You would assume that he has not eaten in 2 or 3 days, maybe, about that. Being a water genasi, he can pull what nourishment he needs liquid-wise out of even the salt water. So obviously he's not thirsty. That's probably why he's been able to last this long. But you can tell that the salt intake has been kind of heavy on his body. So he may not be a sea genasi. He may be someone that wherever he was born, wherever he lived, his type is more of the fresh rather than the salt. His body is sort of tattered and messed up. You can see where water genasi have a very adaptive fluid body. He still seems to have tiny little, almost transparent remnants of scar tissue and remnants of old battles that his body has adapted to and healed, but not necessarily. However, there's one that really sticks out. There's this remarkable scar on his face. Now, Genasi it's very easy for them to adapt and manipulate their body to remove scars. So that means that he's leaving this one on purpose. Something to maybe look into later, obviously. But it means that there's something about that that's important. Other than the food deprivation, which means he needs to get back on the food, and the fact that he's been out on sea for a while, so he's a bit water smacked and salt slapped, he looks remarkably well off. He probably won't need any source of medical treatment necessarily, other than nourishment and maybe some of your medicinal rubbing herbs to clean his skin up and get his body back to where it's going to be on recovery rather than emergency.
I'm gonna grab his face, turn it. Well, aren't you an interesting specimen?
Her hands, where they are slender and soft, her grip is remarkably firm, and she does everything with intent.
Wow.
Probably lay out for a bit.
A bit strong, aren't you there? I feel like you're about to crush my jaw.
You are a bit malnourished, and see if we can get some fluid in you. Your stomach might not do well on solid foods. Because you'll throw up.
Grab your one, matey.
Kind of haven't eaten in a while.
I can tell.
Kind of happens when you're marooned.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna walk around to some of my cabinets, get some salve, and Sam, would I have an IV drip?
Yeah.
I'll get that.
Yeah, Captain spares no expense for the medical bay. Anything that's
Alright.
considered prototype or experimental, he's gone out of his way to make sure you have it.
Alrighty. Sit down, any bed. I don't care.
That's up to market for.
Alright. Probably
Make yourself
one of the
comfortable.
unoccupied ones.
Yes, unoccupied. Don't get sassy with me.
Alright, fine. Yeah.
Because I will leave you as you are. And you'll have to take the long route to get better.
Go sit in a bed.
Bed's remarkably comfortable. Not the most comfortable thing you've ever slept in, but better than the basic stuff that you find in medical bays or hospitals. Feather. Good stuff. Good down. Lovely sheets, lovely blankets. Again, just all around impressive. You lay down and you see her going towards her concoctions and things in her table. The door of the medical bay gets kicked in yet again, and the masked man steps in like normal. Everybody in the beds sits up. Even the ones that are chained kind of go and sit up like this a little bit and look directly at him. You, of course, spin on the heel to turn around because the only person who kicks doors on this crew is the captain. Well, how does he look?
Probably better than most I've seen.
Really?
But he does need an IV drip and some cleaning up to do on some of his lesser wounds.
Well, that's what I would expect from the Terror of the Seas. He better be an Enduro one. Unless he's a big fat liar. You're not a liar, are you?
No. Only the ones who tell stories about me are.
Well, I trust your very capable hands and maniacal nature to take care of our lovely friend here. I expect him to be shipshape and ready within, let's say, by the time we make port at the gate.
How long will that take?
The current speed we have right now, and you see him tuck his hand underneath his mask with the glove still on. You hear, and he puffs his hand up like this in the medical bay and goes, 3 days.
I should be well off by then.
Okay, wonderful. Well, keep up the good work. And he steps out and closes the door.
I can't get a read on him.
Don't worry. None of us can.
Okay. Sorry, not quite used to, well,
Pleasantries?
no, put simply, not being a captain.
Get used to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, I guess.
Could you roll d20 for me, please? Mark and make.
Been a bit of a crazy day.
18.
What's up with the was his name? The Featherhead.
Oh. Did you fancy his ass already?
No.
We're
Just-
gonna hold on that for a moment.
Everybody does.
Your conversation. Within a few, Bradford's over here going, "Oh yeah." I do not think it means what you think it means. Within a few short moments, obviously, the rest of the medical bay gets your green thumb of approval to continue duties. All the injuries that happened over the night before were minor, things that they just take a quick little sling or something to deal with. But they're allowed to go back to the ship, and then the people that were strapped in due to the sickies are good to go. So what's left in the medical bay is just you and your new officer buddy. As you are talking about Robert, where you just said you fancy his ass, as you say that, Megan, you're stepping in now to check in on who is to be your new responsibility as first mate. And that's the first thing you hear as you walk in. You fancy his ass too, eh? That's the first thing you hear.
Whose ass are we
Now,
fancy?
hold on. Now, real quick. I know that you guys were originally having your characters to have a relationship of some kind, correct? Is this going to be publicly known on the ship?
No.
Is this one of those things where it's like you're trying to keep it private, but it's pathetic and everybody knows, they just kind of keep it on that? Or are you actually really good about keeping it private and nobody knows? Would you like to leave that to chance? Or
Well, okay, I would say like they're trying to keep it hidden, but it's pathetic.
Can we just roll
Because
perception?
I had made a comment to him already saying he's like he's like, what's with them? And I was like, she's into guys with smooth personalities. So obviously I would,
We can roll perception.
that's what we go.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Up to him.
Probably keep it as low as possible because my character's backstory.
okay, roll d20s for me real quick.
If both of us?
Just the two of you, yeah.
19.
I got 4.
Okay, so you're very good about keeping it private. She's not. and so a good way to put it is no one knows necessarily how far along you are, how deep you are in a relationship, or necessarily the details. Everybody respects you guys and gives you the privacy you need when they know that, oh, this is a moment. They always give you the opportunity. But as far as trying to keep it private, you try very well to keep your own personal things to yourself. You're not a very extroverted kind of individual. She's a bragger. She likes to go, yeah, that's mine and I'm that, so we're good. We're a unit. Like, that's just kind of her thing. And as he walks away, she looks at him and goes, oh, I own that. like that's her kind of bit. Now, she's not constantly just going around and she's not a flirt. She's not at supper time and in public. She's not walking around holding his hand and cuddling up. She's not that kind of individual. But she's not afraid to let you guys know that she is in a relationship with him, and you guys kind of respect that. And I would say, for you two especially, it's kind of a nice thing. They've been on the crew for over a year now, and it's cool to. There's not a lot of relationships on ship. You guys treat each other as family, so there's not a lot of relationships that happen. So it's really nice, kind of sweet to see some people taking that next step. But obviously, when Megan steps into the room and hears you've noticed his wonderful ass too, there's an assumption of what Ashley's talking about. But this is also our lovely medical officer. She could be talking about anybody. She could even be talking about yours.
Sure.
So your question earlier, she steps in, she goes, "Whose ass we're talking about?" That is absolutely appropriate. So act off of that. The giant, fiery, redheaded woman just leaned in the door and said, "Whose ass we talk?" And just go off of that.
We're not talking about anybody's ass.
No, it's alright. You're allowed to talk about asses. There's no rules against talking about asses. You can talk about asses as much as you like, honestly.
Mark, you heard that as you come walking up behind her.
Who's that we're talking about?
I think they're talking about.
No, we're not talking about his ass.
Well, you said you were
quite a fun ass,
asking.
not gonna lie.
You walked in you walked in right as Mark literally looks back and goes, "I do have a fine ass, cannot lie."
Albion's gonna come out and goes, "You always look like an ass."
Well, speaking of asses,
I'm starting to like him.
You're still in my shit.
Wesley, you have noticed something very different though. These people are ready to kill you, rip you apart, or make you a prisoner, or even a bargaining tool. Only about an hour ago. They have now all entered in a room that is private with no one else around, and they are treating you like they've known you forever. It is something you are very foreign to. Your culture on your ship was you were constantly having to make sure that you were top dog in order to keep these people in line, because if they thought that they could somehow one-up you, they would. every single one of these people could one up you. You can tell that just by the way they carry themselves and their presence and what they have on them, all that nonsense, plus the notoriety of the sovereign. Yet, you know, even though your mind tells you otherwise, you know their guard is down and they're treating you like a friend. Alien is all get out. Continue.
Well, since you all are here,
Fur touched my foot, scared the crap out of me. It's naughty. The dog is right by my foot. The dog is right here, and it touched my left toes. I was like, ah! Like I didn't know what that was. I was like, holy crap, who's wearing fur boots? Like with the
The god of the
Please
sea has
continue.
spoken.
god of the sea. Continue, please.
well, not even an hour ago now, every single one of you was ready to do something terrible to me.
Hey, I'm gonna make a case. I was on your side. He wanted to.
Yeah, Featherhead
Plug
here
'em.
wanted to kill me.
Stick him.
Deep
That
fry
one
him,
wanted to
Deep
throw
fry
me
throw him in the
overboard.
pot.
Stick
eat
him in
for
the stew.
dinner.
I said nothing of the sort. It was me.
The both of you. You,
Oh, fuck off.
I don't know.
It's just one person. Don't encourage him.
You, I think, wanted to dissect me? That's the usual.
I wish to do that to everybody, but
I was
I
about to say,
can't.
now she's treating like everyone, so it doesn't really count for her either.
And you looked like you wanted to tear me in two, and not in the fun way.
Alright. I'll take it, I suppose. What?
Why are you all treating me like this now?
Captain's orders.
He likes you, we like you.
Just like that.
Well, there's something special about him, isn't there?
Is there supposed to be some kind of catch? The part of the crew deal with it.
Did you want a family? Half of us spend our entire lives sailing around the world looking for a family, but we've got one right here.
It's just strange to me. On my ship, I was feared by my crew, not respected. I was.
And that's why you had a mutiny, isn't it?
Sounds like
You
you're
guys do note that his voice has changed. There's a bit of a quiver in his voice and a bit of a pit in it. The captain's opening. The character that, for you guys, the change of perspective where he notes that your emotion has changed. His persona was, he was defiantly embracing death yet an hour ago. And now he is a vulnerable, broken, open being sitting on a bed. Almost reaching for understanding. Very different person. He's already, in less than an hour, his entire persona has already changed, shifted dramatically.
It's just I've never known this. Like my crew feared me, but I also had to fear them because any one of them could be a knife in the night.
Well, we'll fear and respect our captain, but he's...
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
at least we'll
good to
respect
us.
you. It won't be a knife in the back. It'll probably be a knife to the face.
Or punch in the face.
yeah.
Fair enough, Featherhead.
We're crewmates. You can address me as Robert. If you'd like.
Oh, that's your name. Okay.
Well, we're calling him Doors, so it's kind of a
Yeah.
fair trade-off,
To
isn't
be
it?
fair, if your group does figure out you're alive, you technically do have an alias as Door.
He's helped you.
Covers your
Ah.
ass.
Anyway,
Sign.
here's your fresh clothes.
Thank you.
He gives you, remarkably, clothes that are very similar to yours, what you used to wear as a captain, albeit you're missing the captain's hat and coat. But the rest of it is stuff that you're kind of used to. However, far finer grade than probably anything you've ever worn. Even as a captain keeping the plunder for yourself, this is better.
Where did you guys get such fineries?
Oh, the store.
This is where we get stuff.
Quartermaster, roll a d20.
The store.
That's where we get stuff, isn't it?
It's dirty.
Huh?
Dirty 20.
You're 20? Yeah, you bought it. You get supplies. You have tradesmen that you...
Last time we were at port at Baldur's Gate, we picked it up.
Never had something this fine. You can it's a shirt back there. I
Just
don't.
the captain of the worst notorious ship in the world has never had what you guys consider common clothing. He's never had something that fine.
Here, he said he didn't want the shirt.
You don't want to wear the shirt? Really, you're gonna walk around without a shirt on?
I wear coats, not shirts.
Roll a persuasion check real quick. Actually, just straight up charisma.
Straight
Just straight
charisma.
up charisma.
It's gonna be 12.
12. So you see as he gets up, throws the jacket, because you toss a shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
You throw the jacket on, you see him strap the pants over what's left of his shorts as he appropriately ties them off. There's an awkward moment of him for a minute going, "Any of you gonna leave?" And all of you are like, "We don't give a shit." Like, trust me.
I've seen worse.
Crew's quarters are one giant room, buddy. You better get comfortable real quick. So he
Alright,
changes into these clothes, and you guys note that as he puts the jacket on, 3 things happen that's kind of miraculous. For you two, water genasi, this is kind of normal. For you two, you haven't really witnessed this, so it's kind of interesting and awing, but not enough to where you guys are going to immediately go, whoa. His entire color changes now to a bright, vibrant blue rather than normal. The Ivy's helped and gave him his color back. His hair color changes to the beautiful shades that he has in his artwork. His eyes tend to get a little bit of a glow black. And beautiful, rippling pectorals and abs define themselves now as he puts the coat on and gets back into his character for a moment. His entire stance, as he slowly stands up and puts it on, you note a change in his body emotion. He goes from being sort of desperate and giggly to getting up and going, and his stance changes a little bit. It's encouraging. It's that feeling that you all remember when you first really felt accepted onto this ship. It's that feeling, however small it was, of being home. And that's exactly what you feel. For the first time in the last 48 hours, you note that this is not a bad thing. That whatever you prayed to on the sea that night, because you're not one who worships the gods, but whatever you prayed to, listened. And you have found a home on the most notorious ship on the sea, and you have learned that this crew are very special people. Strange, but special. And this is your chance at redemption. To change everything in your life, because one thing that shook you, one thing that changed everything in your mind since you've been on this ship, is what the captain said was true. You fell into a hole that you could not dig out of, and you never wanted that life. You wanted to be a pirate. You wanted to be the captain of a ship and be glorious. But you never wanted to be a murderer, a killer, and a monster. You fell into that hole because of your past. And now you have a chance to change that. And you want to make sure that you change it for the better. So you are inspired and you are ready to take this new name as a sign to start a fresh new life. And everybody else in this room sees that as you stand up. They see that your personality seems to shift, a paradigm shift as it were. You are different all of a sudden. Even from where you were just talking to him, all of a sudden his personality just kind of changes and becomes sarcastic. Sure, he's still a whippersnapper, but more welcoming, more warm, and more accepting and willing to learn.
Question.
Hmm.
Did I notice that branding on his neck?
The branding disappeared
Oh.
when he stepped up. But that is something that water genocides have to do. He willingly allowed that mark to disappear in his liquid body and basically allowed it to mount out and disappear, meaning that he has fully let go of his life before. He still kept the scar though.
Care to say where that one came from?
Believe it or not, I got that one a few weeks ago.
It sounds like a story over drinks. How about it?
Yeah, come on.
Go
Is he
for drink.
good? Is he good to go? Can we go get some food in the man, please?
Some food would be very nice right now.
Yeah, come on.
Let's go.
Woo!
You're not ready to do anything strenuous with it. You really
Woo.
slow down.
And please, don't drink all trying to get drunk. We know you can.
So, bar fights? Are we having bar fights tonight? Is that what we're doing?
No.
Come on. He looks like he's up for it.
I've been trying for so long to be wasted like you
It's a wonderful time. You're missing out, trust me.
You guys can black out. I can.
It's not fair. I remember everything. I am the designated driver.
That's why he sounds good.
That's why we should not give him the
What's the point of being a pirate if you can't get drunk? That's like all Albion. Drex's just over there going, this is my emotional, this is my vulnerable state, this is my vulnerable state, and this is my normal state. I'm letting him get his emotions out, then we'll be back to normal, just give him a minute. Okay, so are all of you gonna go to the to the Chow Hall?
Sure.
You know, as DM, screw it, you're all going to the Chow Hall. So, obviously you guys have been awake since early morning. This has been quite an eventful day. You have a new officer, and where you guys are welcoming and accepting because of the captain and what you've been through, doesn't necessarily mean the entire crew is going to be in the same boat, so you will have to keep an eye on it. You enter the Chow Hall, where there's roughly about maybe a dozen or so people eating. The cook, by the way, Wesley, because you're going to be the new face of this wonderful place, is a water genasi. A really fat one.
Oh.
Big old boy. Like we're talking, you know, if he had the ability to tuck if he puts his hands on his chest and he squats, he looks like a water ball. Like he's a big boy. Beautiful blazing violet hair for what's on his head, but it is a mohawk that is not spiked up. It drips down to one side. Lovely looking, cheery look on his face, always sort of rosy cheeked and ready to go. Always a happy look on the crew. This guy's been around before any of you were on the ship. He's been around on the Sovereign for a very long time. And he is, yep, his kitchen's fired off and has already been feeding everybody. So, like a normal cafeteria though, there is technically a way to walk up to him. There is a sort of window looking area where he stands, and then there's a window on the other side of the Chow Hall that has a large oaken countertop that seems to be worn over all the years, so it's very smooth and soft at this point from all the things that have been dragged over the top of it. That seems to be where you pick up the food. Maybe a little foreign to you because on your ship, it was literally a giant table that food would get slammed on, and if you were hungry, you went there and ate whatever wasn't rotten. Whereas for these guys, it's straight up a cafeteria that you would expect at any business or school that we know in real life. By the way, the Genasi's name for your guys' concern, his name is Runnel. Runnel, and he is the chief cook of the ship. He sees you all coming in and immediately looks with bright eyes towards Max and goes, Max, my one true love!
Oh, Ronald, I've been
Good
missing
morning
you.
to you, lovely.
What have you cooked up for me today? Hopefully not fish.
Well, the stores are still full. There's still quite a bit of things that we would have to do. But, Robert, I did have to mention, we're a little low on the vegetables. So when we get to the gate, we'll need to make sure we make fair trade for some fresh produce once we get there.
I'll make a note of it.
Another note to say is the ice stores are running a tad low as well. We've got a lot of fresh water, obviously, but that means that the preservatives are starting to die out. We need to refresh those for the coolers. That word is completely alien in your brain.
Okay. Ice is.
What can I get all of you for? She looks. You see him open a porthole and look outside. Breakfast or lunch, whichever you prefer. First come, first serve, my dear. What can I get for you?
Chef special, whatever you like.
Except for the fish.
Yeah, except for the
Of
fish.
course. My love of twice. What can I get you?
Fresh food
surprising
keeps
stuff.
it fresh.
I'll get you something lovely and not made of meat. The meat's a little bit on the gamey side this morning, I'm afraid.
But you get ice down this way.
All of a sudden you see his body shift a little bit towards Albion.
Oh, it's actually
Okay.
Drex today. Albion's.
Is he speaking
Trust
the
me,
truth?
one of these things won't be stranger to you.
Yes.
One won't be stranger to
I've
you.
never been able to get a read on your boy.
Okay.
What can I get you this morning other than rum?
No.
I had to put a lock
You
on the
did it
bloody
again.
liquor closet because of this
Ronald,
one.
you know not to get him started on it.
Well, I don't know which one it is sometimes,
It's
Max.
not
I get
one of 'em.
confused.
Come
Ronald,
on.
Ronald, either of them. Don't start with either of them.
Pardon the jingle.
Ooh.
Robert's trying to talk to me about Jedi business, I think.
Yeah.
No, not today. Well, regardless, it's locked now, and the key is somewhere you'll never find it because I don't have it, so...
It's under your mattress, isn't it?
No, it's not. Fuck. So don't worry about it.
Don't look for it.
I'll get you a nice big plate of pancakes and some lovely potatoes on the side. How does that sound?
And some of the meat because it's gaming. I mean, come on, you know the diet.
You like the thick stuff or the red stuff?
Bloody.
Okay,
Bloody,
no
you
más
got
dos.
it. Robert, the usual?
Usual.
Usual. And you're the fresh one! He reaches out a hand. Welcome to the crew, lad. My name's Runnel. I'm the chief cook and open mouthpiece of the crew. You ever hungry for something nice and smart, you come to me before you go downstairs, because I'll be able to cook it up sharp for you. Or at least clean.
Sounds good.
So,
I must see another water genasi around here.
I've been around on this ship for most of my life. You could consider this my fish tank, to be completely honest. I'm being serious. When this ship goes to dock, I don't even leave. My sea legs are for this ship and this ship alone. The ship is my wife, second only to Max.
Ronald, you should stop by my bunk more often.
Well,
Just
I do,
saying.
but usually you're snoring so loud, you got the captain waking up.
I have sleep apnea.
Now,
What do you
this
want
is
to
your
do?
first meal on the ship. Anything in the cupboards are yours. What would you like?
I don't want to picture that.
No,
I don't want to see
nothing
what
too hard.
Yeah.
It's still in recovery.
Your bunk's too
No.
down.
I'm not exactly used to this.
Well, you're a genasi like me. Let's put it something sweet and simple at the beginning. How about a nice piece of cod with a little bit of chips, and we'll throw in a nice bit of red wine to go with it. The light stuff, obviously.
That sounds good to me.
I'll bring out a nice little keg of water too, just to keep yourself fresh, hey?
Thank
Good. All right. Make yourselves comfortable. Obviously, officer's table is always open and ready for you guys. Been buffing and shining ready this morning. I'll get your food out to you right quick.
Thank you, Ronald.
Always, my love. Mwah.
So I lean over to Dora and I say, "This is gonna be awful. Do you two like know each other or something? Do you know each other? Don't all water genasi like know each other? It's not a whole bunch of you out
I
there.
keep on forgetting that Megan loves to be racist.
That's not true.
Whatever you say.
It's a character.
I was fooled. Okay.
Don't
It's
listen
not
to
technically racist. It's just really it's like really short. Like you don't even know that you're saying something that's technically offensive. You're like you are 100% a 30 to 24-year-old person who has the mind of a 5-year-old. Like you don't realize that everybody who's the same color lives together. Like you just don't put
Well,
that
I've
together.
only seen two of them. I assume they know each
Yeah.
other.
No, we. No.
Sweetheart,
Is that-
no, it's fine. You're fine.
Okay, so
Uh,
I'm done.
It's kind of the same concept of me and Drex, you know?
Sure,
how
sure.
We're the same
Yeah.
race, but we didn't know each other in the beginning.
Oh.
Oh no, please go on. This is hilarious.
They knew each other.
It's okay, honey.
Oh my goodness, it's happening again. All right. Let's just sit down. I'm sorry. It happens. It keeps happening. All right.
One by one, your guys' plates come out with Ronald bringing them to you, and to describe it in the simplest terms, each one of your platters is food porn, like the most delicious looking entrees. Again, you guys are used to this. One of your favorite times of the day is coming down for a bite to eat, and not just for a snack, not just to pick up an apple or something real quick, but when it's mealtime and you get something from Ronald who cooks it for you. You are in seventh heaven. You have reached finally the echelon of what you think is the high life by being not a captain, and you're looking at it going, I don't know what to do. I'm afraid of like defacing what I'm looking at. Like this is art in its purest form, and it smells fantastic. Make a d20 real quick.
And then what will that kid from?
It's gonna be a 9.
You're able to contain yourself though, and you don't like start scarfing down like inappropriately or anything. You compose yourself and eat heartily like everybody else, but with the appropriate utensils and everything else. As you guys are having conversation, another person comes to the officer's table. Everyone else knows this young person to be Ozin, Kettle Whistle. He's a halfling, and he is the gunner monkey. He is the one in charge. He's an officer, just not part of the direct upper echelon. But he's in charge of the maintenance and performance of all the cannons and firearms on the ship.
What's his name?
His name is Ozin, Oszin, Kettle Whistle, and he's a halfling.
So he's the size of kettle.
He wears a dark black robe, has modded raven hair, long and thick, has a bit of a 5 o'clock shadow almost all the time. It looks like he has bags under his eyes, but it's actually shadow makeup. And he always carries a rather messed up, knotted looking staff on his back.
2 quick questions.
Yeah.
I need the names of the dwarf and the half-elf.
Oh, the dwarf earlier, who is one of your top crewmen for top deck, is Beldris, Beldrus, Beldrus Hellcrawl. He is a hill dwarf. And the Yuan Ti, the snake lady that you met earlier, is Zylfana, Zylfana. Thana, Zilfana. She has a Yuan-Ti pureblood. She is a sorcerer.
Okay. That's right.
Good buddy.
Gifted in shadow magic, for that matter. So Cattle Whistle comes over with his tray and sits down next to you. Looks sort of gloomy and pissed all the time. Just leans down like this.
Hi, Ozen. How are you?
I love how you do.
I'm incredible.
Good.
Did you meet our new?
No, but I heard of him. Hi.
How's it going, mate?
I was in Cattle Whistle at your service, crewmate.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hey, Door.
What?
What's his name?
That's his name.
Oh, 1,000 pardons, Door. Nice to meet you. Sorry for the grizzled look. And for all of you guys, you know, that's just kind of his rusty bitch face. He always looked like that for you. You're just kind of like, what stick is up your butt? Like he just, it's kind of a shock.
Everything all right there, mate?
Of course. Cannons are all accounted for. We only lost, I think it was according to your list, we only lost 3 cannonballs in the storm last night. So it was remarkably way better than what we're used to.
Remind me to fry as well.
What, like, my fault?
Leaving them out.
Well, it was
I have,
Satina,
like, a
but don't
story.
worry about it. I've already kind of hazed her for it. She'll
You
get a
gonna lie?
look from the captain later. Good saying so,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't without intent. She was concerned that we may have some followers along the way before we hit the storm. So she was running a check on all the inventory and bringing it up to second deck when the storm hit. So that's why they were off.
Alright, that's.
She was willing to offer her pay stub, her share, in exchange for replacing the ammunition. I told her not to worry about it. It's not enough to be of concern. Muskets all look good. Oh, and Robert, just like you ordered, I double checked on the black powder and the barrels. We should have enough for the gates, but we may need to haggle a little bit when it comes to the triggers. A couple of them are pretty well rotten at this point, quite rusted. We may have to work on supplying those real quick before I can do any kind of maintenance on the handguns.
Does this mean I have to go too?
I hope not. I mean, you haven't given me your inventory for your medical supplies. Is there anything that you needed?
Well,
I'm not going to be taking the shore leave. I'm going to be working here at the ship with Ronald.
well, she normally requisitions herself.
Yeah, I have compliance
I know,
with
but
this
1
already.
month. I mean, I figure you all would be having some good time relaxing. I could do the work while you're gone if you give me a list.
Wait, did you say you guys have muskets?
Yeah.
Ah.
Remember, I was
All of a sudden, that
going to-
grizzled resting bitch face turns into this wonderfully devilish smile. He goes, "We got guns, rifles, blunderbusses, handguns, shotguns,
Oh, you
all
got it
barrels of
started.
fire."
We have all the fancy toys.
mini cannons, long cannons, hand cannons.
That's when I said I was going to plug you earlier.
You ever heard of a flying fire stick?
No, but
Long black rod with a fuse on the end. You light it, you throw it on a ship, it explodes. It's like minus dynamite, but way safer, far longer range, 3 times the
This is the
blast.
happiest I've ever
Much
seen.
more prettier.
Y'all know that when you talk about like explosives and munitions, that Austin goes off. Kettle Whistle loves his guns.
where can I get
And
some
I'm lost
couple
again.
of these?
It's
It's
inside of me.
It's your first day. I didn't expect you to see the rest of the ship.
I'm in
You got the grand tour.
Not quite yet.
Yeah, no. Eat up and rest, man. You'll get your fair share.
The only thing that she's seen all morning was her dungeon. I mean,
How's your
medical ward, I think.
Torture chamber?
It could be yours.
Frequently.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, none of you have come
Kind
by,
of
by the way.
quite
Hey,
often.
none of you have come by the way, to show me how your pistols are doing. I haven't run maintenance on any of your gear in not 2-3 weeks. How are you faring? They feel like they're having problems with the triggers.
You know I don't particularly like using them.
I mean, you still got the one in the cupboard, lad. So if you want to ever
I'll
run it
bring
by
it
me,
by at some point.
Yeah, last
I'd rather it not be dusty.
I mean, this guy almost took my head off with one this morning.
Which one?
the
The other one.
long one.
The one that shoots.
That would have taken your head off. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
But don't worry about it. It would have been clean.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have felt the thing. It's fast enough to keep it quick. But you also don't have to worry about it anymore because it won't be pointing at you. It'll be pointing with you. You'll have one too. Don't worry. Now, what we'll have to do though, we'll have to try out a couple and see which ones fit you best. So, target practice later.
Oh, let's come by for that, yeah.
I'll bring out the rotten cabbages on the port side and we'll have some fun.
Oh, absolutely.
well, my I'm only an archer, if that helps at all.
Oh, I take care of all of the weaponry and well, okay, not the swords. That's more of a Gris's job. But if you need anything as far as ranged, I've also got plenty of arrows, quivers, and bows. If you want to come take a look.
I will definitely have to do that.
Sure. When you stop by for your gun, I'll grab the bows out and we'll have you try the strings.
Sounds good to me. I kind of lost
It's been
my
a long
see.
time since we had a good bowman on the ship.
Yeah, not
You know,
since
you know those long black stakes we're talking about?
Yeah.
You could tag those arrows.
Just be careful.
Shoot. Who was the last bowman we had on board?
I think that was Fossil Stone, the Earth Genasi that was here. It was 2 months ago before he retired.
Yep, he did retire. That was pretty sad. We held the party and everything.
Retire.
He's dead.
Well, okay, to everybody else they think he's dead, but you know,
Wait,
living a
is
good
that
life
what,
now.
when the
I'm
captain
sure he is.
when the captain says someone's retired, that means they're dead?
Yes.
No.
It's what the world thinks. Remember? They can't know that we're still alive. That allows us to walk off happily and live a second
Oh, I
life.
thought it
because
was
they
sort of
think
like
that we're dead.
we dropped
It's
him
a-
off
it's
at
the
the farm
initiation
sort
thing.
of
We've
thing.
talked about
It's sort of like
Max, we've talked about this
I've
many
Also,
times.
you know,
see,
in when they were out there, there's sometimes it's worrying.
No, we kept
You guys
so
were
dropped you
retired?
off.
Oh, okay, yeah.
After a certain amount
Yeah.
of time dedicated at sea, you have the right to retire. You can take off the ship, you get a fair share to live happily anywhere you want to get dropped off. The captain has a way to give yourself your own identity and a separate name, and if you were good enough, we've had a couple crew members even get property that they live on.
That old farm.
I mean, Falstone just wanted to be a merchant, so he just wanted to drown in his own carriage, but he's on.
Nice carriage.
Yeah, real nice.
Very fancy.
Can I do a perception check to see
It's
if
never a
anybody...
rock face not to have something fancy. But,
Alright.
He still had his tastes.
As soon as it's no wonder my crew mutinied.
well, I mean, it all depends, right? If they wanted to be ruthless like you, it only makes sense. You bred them to be like you. So if you were always fending for yourself, that's what they're gonna do. Our captain puts us in the opposite. As long as we treat each other appropriately and respect him and his orders and respect each other, we're well rewarded for our efforts. The way he always puts it is you're supposed to treat each other like family. And so he tries to keep everybody feeling that way here. No matter how we are, no matter how different we are, even if we don't like each other. Like, Drexus can piss off, but he's still my crew member.
And Albion's right found git, so.
But we're still family.
Yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, they both walked the plank, but, you know.
It was
Well,
up
it's
to
Like
us.
family.
Do you want to make that 2 weeks?
Sorry, man.
Ozin leans back a little bit and goes, "Smart, Well,
What does she have?
I'm going to be getting on with my duties. I hope to see your guys' muskets or pistols at one point or another. At the end of the day, Robert, I'll have everything all set up for us to do that shooting practice. We'll get it done before sundown.
Of course.
Again, welcome to the crew, mate.
Thank you.
Gets up, walks off to their duties.
Can I look around and see if anybody's giving Door like a rude look?
Sure, another perception check. Or investigation, whichever one you prefer.
That's a 7. I have a -1 on the
So
investigation.
that was a 6.
Well, no, I'll let you guys use investigation.
Oh, okay.
Well, what is perception?
Yeah, +1.
Okay, that's better. Better than negative. So that's an 8?
Yeah.
Okay, so you look around while everybody's still eating. You guys are making Jor feel at home, and sure enough, you see it. Nate, one of your newest crew members, a weird little goblin wizard, sitting on the far end of the room, is not going to be ready, just staring at the back of his head like he wants to eat it. Like he just looks, his red eyes are flared up and everything. So he goes,
Meg, you got something you'd like to say?
"Is that an order?"
Aye.
He puts his bread down, starts to shuffle over. Short little dude, obviously, like barely 2 feet tall. Like he's a tiny guy even for a goblin. Shuffles over. I know your crew. I know your ship. I used to parade all around my clan and down off the Southerns and the Nelanthers when I was but a pup. When I was a little kid running around the caves. Used to light our butts on fire as we ran around.
You probably
I didn't
deserved it, Meg.
In my mind, what?
You probably deserved it.
Meg,
Can I just bop him? Can I
This
just
is
bop him
Dora.
real lightly
Sure.
in the face? Okay.
Sure.
this is Dora. This is his ship. This is his crew.
Greg,
Whatever you're thinking of, it's probably dead.
Do you want some tea later?
contorted.
Oh, not again.
I'm sorry for whatever I did to
60.
your people.
Nate doesn't want to be negative.
You know, again, why his name is Nate.
I just got it.
Crew's family.
He smiles with really big, knotted, fanged teeth left and right. Very uncomfortable. I'm the crew door. I'm Nate. Throws his hand up. Company wizard.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
He's turning over a new leaf. So,
Yeah, we
What
all
makes you feel any better? This crew you needed.
You got shit. I must have slept though. I'm sorry.
My left me on an island.
My family left me for dead, you know that. They wanted me to get eaten by a couple of
deserved
displaces, and then Captain picked me up instead.
I'm still kind of curious about that.
So after hearing
Uh,
the next subjects, this is kind of
Company wizard, by the way. He tips his hat. Big pointy hat, by the way. Big pointy hat. That's way too big for his head.
Very stereotypical.
Nice to meet you. I'm a ranger, sort of jack of all trades.
Well, if we ever end up doing some plundering or some working together, I'd love to see what you got.
When you guys hear plundering from Nag, Robert and Drexus, shiver goes down your spine, remembering last time. Because the last time you went out plundering with Nag, you were supposed to quickly drop into a couple of Thieves Guild's headquarters, plunder some loot, and get out. They were both completely on fire when you left. Because Nag only knows fire spells. And that's it.
Senor,
Literally.
might want to, maybe you while before next time.
Meg's a very good fire wizard, isn't he?
I'm very good at lighting this on fire.
Just never do stuff.
You see a glint in his eyes. Fire. Ronald goes, stay the fuck out of our kitchens!
Hey.
Muy bueno.
Well, at least I'd be able to help you control it a little bit.
I'm supposed to control fire, I'm supposed to let it run wild.
Hey,
Sorry,
stealth
sorry.
operations. No more stealth operations.
Is that why you guys let him fire so easily? Sorry, didn't mean it as a...
Not anymore. Nag's fireproof.
Fair enough.
I bet you're not.
Sorry, family, we're not supposed to make threats.
No negative.
Senorita, next time you were the racist one.
I don't know. You know
I'm
the
gonna go take a
ones.
nap.
Nah.
Kevin said I get to rest till we get to port because I gotta help with the deliveries. So have a wonderful day, crew.
Senor.
Turns around and you hear, Nate's not negative. As he walks away, just Nate's not negative. And walks away.
Colorful crew. Very colorful crew.
Just a little bit.
That's the local blasphemy.
feeling overwhelmed yet?
Just a little bit.
Good.
DM question real quick. At this point, I'm going to allow you guys to have already given out introductions where he knows your guys' names as well. I know that other than Mark, no one really out loud said what their names were. Didn't really give enough time to do that, but at this point, so you've already spent half a day with Thor. You will have introduced yourselves at this point, and vice versa, obviously. So you now know everybody's names. You can call them by that, or you can call them by their rank. It's up to you. Or nicknames like Featherhead if you want.
You can stay featherhead.
Just saying.
You can't escape it, Robert. Everyone calls you that.
No, we don't.
No one calls me that.
Apparently he does.
That you know of.
That's cool.
They do say it behind your back sometimes.
Okay, so for sake of time, because we got about an hour before we're done with the stream, and I'd like to do one other big thing before we're done. So for sake of time, the next 3 days go off pretty smoothly, introducing Dor to his duties, the ship's grand tour, getting him his weaponry, which, by the way, you wanted a bow, but did you want a pistol or a handgun as well?
Yes.
Okay,
I
so-
was thinking the bow and then 2 flintlocks.
Now, this is something I actually want to bring up to all of you, because I know that some of you chose pistol, some of you chose not. It was something that wasn't declared ahead of time, and I wanted to make sure we declared it now. you guys can write in your inventory exactly what type of pistol it is, because there are categories, and depending on what you get different kind of damage and range. So pistols are the most standard types overall, but there's also blunderbuss, arquebus, calivers, muskets, and handguns. Each of them have a different type of damage output, a different kind of range, and a different kind of weight. And some are two-handed, obviously, while others are one-handed. What were you guys? Did you want a pistol?
No.
So I know that you were gonna have one, and you were gonna have two. You didn't want any
2 pistols.
because you like your you like your mid-range stuff. And then I assumed you were gonna have one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so pistol's the most standard. It's a 1d10 piercing, and it ranges anywhere from 50 to 150 feet. So about the standard of a longbow. You can go up from there for what they stock in on the ship. You can get a blunderbuss, or a musket, or if you roll high enough, you can get a handgun, which is basically a sawed-off shotgun. So pistols are obviously the most standard and have the most decent range. Muskets are going to be significantly longer, but they are a two-handed weapon. The blunderbuss is also two-handed, so if you want to go singles, you have to just go with the standard pistol. But if you want to get more damage output out of your range, you're gonna want one of the other two types.
How high would I have to roll to get the handgun?
Let's say you have to roll 18 or higher, because it is a valuable piece of technological advancement.
And no modifiers, I'm assuming?
No, it's just a luck roll. Give it a shot and see what you get.
I'm gonna try it. That's low.
Close. So you can get a pistol, a blunderbuss, or a musket.
Probably gonna take 2 pistols as like
Okay, 2
backup
pistols.
on the bow.
Okay, cool. So if you guys want to write these down in your inventories, it's 1d10 piercing, and the range goes from anywhere from 50 to 150 feet. Closer than 50 feet, you have a chance of missing your target. Because typically for the pistol, you have to pull it out, aim, cock, and fire. Unless they are on your person to where you can just drop and shoot, it's a lot harder when you're within range of attack to pull out and fire beforehand. So ideally, these are meant for specifically long range. If you want to do still ranged weaponry but be closer, it'll be better off to use a throwing projectile or a bow or a crossbow to do closer than that. With anything from 20 to 50 feet, you want to use a bow or some other type of artillery. Further is where you use your
yes,
pistols.
right.
They're more sniping weaponry.
Right.
Okay.
I'll forget, I've got hand access too.
Yes. So you gird yourself with 2 pistols. You guys refresh yours. So all of you are carrying pistols, yes? Okay, cool. So you all gird yourself with pistols. You refresh your ammo. Again, as far as ammo is concerned, in this game, I am not making you guys count your ammunition. So as far as I'm concerned, pistols, you don't have to worry about counting ammunition or powder. The difference is, if you remember what I told you before, these are flintlock pistols. So once you fire, you take another turn to you have to use a free action to reload. You can do an attack action outside of the pistol after you've fired it, as long as it's not just firing your pistol again, because you have to take 1 full action or free action to reload it before you can fire it a second time. It's not like a bow or a crossbow where you can continue to just load and go. It takes a little time because you have to put the powder in, jam it in, and then put the bullet in and cock it and fire again. So that takes at least 1 action or free action, bonus action. Other than that, the rest of it's pretty straightforward. You guys take the next few days in stride. Very minimal, very little to offer as far as the ship's concerned. I'm going to ask Megan and Ayla to roll d6 for me, please.
6. A 4.
Cool. Nothing crazy happens on the way to Baldur's Gate. You guys are able to do it without anything weird. And you finally get to the gate. As you guys run to the gate, first mate, obviously you have to speak to the dock officials and everything else. It's your job to make sure things go smoothly, which terrifies Robert.
It's number 8,
And
right?
it's usually
Not your side.
and it's usually your quote unquote hype man coach to keep you from doing something really stupid. But you are at the same time, the fun part about having Max as the first mate, you guys have always been very uneasy that Max is first mate, because yes, she is imposing and brilliant and a good heart and she has a lot of drive. But oh man, dealing with politics with her is the worst, and why the captain would make her out of all of you level-headed individuals as first mate kind of continues to surprise and elude you. But, I mean, you guys are all here to be each other's support unit, so Robert, you're always with her as she goes to do her things to make sure that she stays on the straight and
I was
narrow.
gonna say, like, it allows us to cooperate and actually get closer to each other. So I think it's a good idea. I
Since
guess.
this is
Okay.
your very first docking experience, however, Dor, you have been told, you have been asked by the captain to accompany the first mate and quartermaster to see how the docking process goes, because he knows that you've never done this before. If your ship was ever within range of Baldur's Gate, they'd light you up. So this is brand new for you, and you get to experience how this works. He wants you to get a feel of how the ship functions. For you two, you guys have a few duties that you have to handle. As sailmaster, the first thing you're going to want to do before you are officially let go for a month is you want to make sure that all the sails can still handle the seas. If any of them even have the minute sense of damage, you're going to want to try and barter for new sails. You don't even wait. A tear in a seam is unacceptable. The captain goes, take my money if you have to, and go buy a new one. Go get a freshie. He likes his stuff to be pristine. That includes the hinges on the cannons, which you and Ozin tend to handle as all the cannon maintenance. When it comes to purchasing, you're still as much involved as he is. And when it comes to, for you in particular, comes to the military clothing, the thieving repertoire that you have, so your lockpicks, your long arms, your harpoons, all that kind of stuff that you guys use on daily use for fishing and everything else, you're in charge of that. And you're the requisition officer for that stuff. Obviously, you are chief medical officer, so the beddings, the pillows, the sheets, the clothes, all of that is your responsibility when you make port. You're going to make sure that you still have fresh clothes, soaps, all the good stuff to keep the crew clean and healthy. Mark and Megan, you're in charge of literally everything else. Food stocks, morality of the crew, weaponry, everything else. Ozin will go out and purchase things, but he does need your guys' approval, writ of approval, before he goes and does anything. Otherwise, it's up to you guys to do it. And since he met with you guys earlier, you gave him writ of approval to take care of that this time around. So he's going to go take care of that, and then he'll stay on the ship along with Run-On and a couple of others to keep things going. So mainly what your guys' focus on this time is the bullets that the captain gave to you before, where you're going to want to take a good look at the ammunition, more ammo, so more powder, more bullets. You're going to have to meet with an armor smith of some kind, and trading some of your goods for better goods. So that means your sugars, your spices, and any valuables that you have on ship that you're not going to use as currency, you're going to want to try and see what you can offer, what you can get offered for in town that would be useful to you guys on the ship. Because after this 1 month off, the captain says that he's got something big planned. And there's a chance that you may not make port for quite a while, so you want to be well stocked and ready to go. Now you guys have heard big plan before, but he's taking a lot more initiative this time than normal. So you guys truly expect something big, which hasn't happened in a long time. Hasn't happened in a long time. You guys have been around for about a year. You've never seen him this excited. For you guys who have been here longer, it's been a really long time since he's been this excited. Particularly for Meg, who you've been here the longest, is that correct? No, you've been here the longest. Since you've been here, last time you've seen him like this, without disclosing any information, was the time he attacked, with the ship alone, the Gold Fleet. And like, that huge debacle that took like 3 weeks to get out of. He was excited for that, and it was brutal, but you made it out on top. And he hasn't been that excited since that. So it's a bit of a head turner for you guys. Like, okay.
So every time he says he's got something big planned, I give a little bit of PTSD.
So you guys roll up to port, and Wesley, you've heard of Baldur's Gate, you've seen it from afar. You've had descriptions, but you never physically have ever been to the
Played
gate.
video games.
Beautiful, intense, heavy stone walls steer across the front of the dock with military mites of two factions, big military boys in obsidian-clad armor, and then these red-coated, what looks like roguish type people walking around with bows and staves, archmages and things walking around. This place is not as heavily secured as some other places you've been to, but still actively secured enough to where it's not going to be very easy to ever cause trouble. As the Sovereign comes in, first thing that your head is, we're a pirate ship. They should be lighting us up right now. Like, even if you're not my ship, you're still a freaking pirate ship. You should be lighting us up right now. But there's no aggression. As you pull up to the dock, you don't even see the soldiers that are on the dock who are walking up to greet you. They didn't even look threatened. And you're standing next to Robert, who's standing next to Max.
Why are they not, shooting us? We are flying pirate colors.
Absolutely, but we have permissions.
Oh yeah, and obviously at this point, black flag and red flag are down. It's a white flag. That's all.
No.
But it's still a freaking ship. Like everybody knows the sovereign.
What?
Why are they letting us here? I
We
can never
have
even get close.
we have docking permissions from the Lord here. Some kind of deal that him and the captain struck.
Meg, you know what the deal is? It's basically we have signed a writ contract with the lords of the gate that we will perform no crimes upon the city in exchange for safe passage and bartering of trade goods. And that also means that technically, should a state of emergency happen to the gate, that the captain has agreed to answer the call of a summoning should they ever get into a war. The gate is a neutral zone. It's the most neutral you can get on the western coast. Where Neverwinter and some of the other ones will be on one side or the other when it comes to the morality code. Baldur's Gate is infamous for being the most neutral zone ever. So it's a golden land of opportunity for lots of crime, technically, lots of criminal undergrounds and thieves guilds and things, but it's all within the respect and jurisdiction of the gate's offerings. They're perfectly fine with evil necromancy temples being erected in the middle of town so long as they don't hurt
It's a
the other
third one
gate's
this
citizens. They can do whatever they want outside the gates. But in here, they can't screw around with the other people. So it's the same concept as like what the captain does on the ship. It's like you can do whatever you want outside, just not here, and everybody respects that. So with that in mind, it's one of the most open places for people to go to.
I mean, we promise we won't plunder and pillage and so on and so forth, and they promise to let us sell our stuff and walk around and dock, and everything turns out kind of happy.
As
It's just all new to me. I wasn't allowed within a few leagues of this place without getting shot at.
Oh, sure, when you're a part of a dick band of pirates, I think that generally you won't get favorable reviews from anybody. But you're part of a good band of pirates now.
Fair enough.
what a weird thing to say. Good band.
I was gonna say,
Good
well,
band.
It sounds like One Piece, but it's not One Piece. Is it?
Nope.
Sure. Weebs.
Oh.
I respect you.
I respect you. Sheesh.
Oh god.
I'm insulted.
I mean, you're sitting here with us too.
You're
I know.
insulted. I'm not a weeb. Just because I have 10 D&D books and set this whole thing up because I'm desperate to
That's
play
not
with people and express my inner
That's not
feelings.
weeb. No, an anime. Anyways, we don't need to.
That's for a couch podcast.
So the ship rides up, dock, right alongside the dock, and the onboard ramp rolls up. The mooring lines and aft lines get tossed out. You're tied to the dock. The ramp makes a connection with the side of the ship, starboard side, and the military of the gate drums up. Your usual correspondence, the one that you're used to talking with and going through permissions, is there like normal, which is really nice because you're always gonna get terms with these guys. Door, you see a massive black scale dragonborn in obsidian armor with a huge great axe on his back, come marching up with the rest of the soldiers. He's got a big toothy grin on his face though, looking straight at Max and Robert. Even though he's imposing as all get out, he seems to be very welcome with these guys. He walks up and offers his hand first to Max, shakes her hand, and shakes the hand of Robert. My friends, welcome back to the gates.
It's been too long.
It has been quite a while, has it not?
Can I give him a hug?
Sure.
I
Roll-
give him a
roll-
hug. 18.
Max goes over, and despite being smaller than this gigantic dragonborn who's in full heavy plate and a giant war axe, she walks over, wraps around his waist, and picks him up like nothing. Just and puts it back down on the guard. He seems to be laughing about it. The soldiers that are with him seem mighty uncomfortable with it, but don't do anything. And he laughs about it and pats his shoulder and says, "It is good to see you all finally back in the gates. It's been what, season? 2 seasons, has it not?
It's been a
I've been
while.
gone for so long. I was very concerned that maybe something happened to the sovereign.
Piratey things here and there, doing pirate business.
Anything happened to the sovereign?
Yeah,
I
come
mean,
on.
I could only assume, if not the worst, that you were in great success if it had taken so long.
That would be
Ah,
worse.
yeah.
I assume the captain is in good spirits.
Yes, of course, yeah. Trust me, if we ever retire, I'm gonna buy an island just for you, I swear.
Oh, it is kind, Nancy. Thank you very much. But you know my duties is for the gate and her people. If I am to retire in any way, it is right here on the walls.
But, you know, I wouldn't mind a timeshare somewhere.
No,
Where is the lovely fetching tiefling that is usually with you?
Lovely, I don't. Who are we talking about?
I rolled a d4 and I got a 4. This is one of this is one of the creatures that is infatuated. And then, so there's a reason why you're not present at it. You're hiding below deck till it's over.
Oh yeah, she's around. You know.
Who's that about lovely
She's
tiefling?
oh, she's below deck actually.
Like, go ahead, me, Robert, you know who I speak.
Like,
And his eyes all of a sudden shift over to you. Oh, and who is the new crew member that I have not met?
This is a
go
door.
on. You touch-
Am I?
Door. This was the captain's idea, was it not?
Absolutely. No, it's actually true. It's actually Shark's idea.
Really? Wow. Well, you know, I've always known him to be a bit of a coy individual, but that is surprising.
He says,
Yes,
he says, he was floating on door, opening door.
Captain David of the gate at your service.
Right.
I am in charge of the northern docks here at Eldor.
Right. Cap. Door.
It is a pleasure to meet you, and we welcome you to the gates.
Yes, cat door.
We have kept good faith and good trade with this captain and his crew, and we expect the same out of you. Have you ever been to the gate before, my friend?
Not without being shot at. No.
Well, there are a few simple rules that you must abide by. First of all, we have a treaty with your captain and crew that while you are here, no forms of criminal acts will be enacted upon the gate and its people. It will be for trade and for relaxation, purely alone. In respect, you have safe harbor and protection from the gate while you are here. Any foreign government of any other kind other than the gate that comes seeking retribution or bounty or abjugation of the sovereign will be protected by the gate's mighty naval fleets and its mighty cannons on the walls. So you can relax. You are safe here, my friend. Know that should you break the treaty in any way, the signed treaty says that the captain has absolute rights and responsibilities to disregard you as a member of his crew in any way, and the gate will respond with enforced justice as it deems appropriate.
What do you mean by that? Mean that force?
Well, I've been on the other side of that, and I'd rather avoid that again.
He pulls out a quick little pamphlet and hands it to you. Within this document shows certain penalties that should happen based on specific crimes, just so you understand the weight of what you may be tempted to do. Oh, of course, I forgot. Since you were last here, it's been quite a few seasons, a new rule has been brought up by the Lords of the Gate. As long as you are within the city underneath this treaty, you must make all of you and your crewmen wear these sashes to prove that you are within the royal permissions of the Lords to walk freely amongst our streets and businesses. It's a large red sash with a Baldur's Gate sigil on the side. As long as you are running one of these, every appropriate business and enterprise will respect you as normal citizens and continue to conduct business as normal. It is just a way of a few people since you've been gone have been trying to cheat the rules and walk around a bit of our guidelines and try to get a little cheaper prices than they should. And we want to make sure that we can monitor that appropriately. I also have word that the Lords would like to speak to your captain when he has the time. Has he been out of his quarters lately?
3 days ago.
3 days ago. Okay, well, I'll stop by at a later time, see if he's in the talking mood. But before you leave, please give him this writ. This was brought up by Lord Darian, and he wishes to speak to him as soon as he is able. It's a scroll with the written seal of Lord Darian, one of the top 3 lords of Baldur's Gate. Other than that, do you have any requisitions that I can start expediting for you to resupply your ship?
Munitions.
Okay, for a musket blunder, like, which ones are we talking about?
All of them.
Oh, you had a very busy season, did you?
Margaret, I've given you a list.
So, ammunitions, black powder, bullets, a few quarters of arrows. I have a list from your very local chiefly friend.
Oh no! Come on, baby,
She
come
wears
on.
perfume, what can I do?
Amigo, you cannot
Kirby.
do that in front of me.
I'm not that low, I'm not tracing for her skin sense, come on.
It's Kirby. You know it.
She dips it in perfumes, what
You
can
say
I
that
do?
you're a liar.
And I also have another.
Listen, you know me better than you know. Listen, these will all be easy to accomplish, minimal effort.
And one more from dress.
Drexus.
Ajax. And also another from Ajax.
Interesting. All of a sudden, Ozin comes shuffling up, and this one from the captain, and he pulls up. You guys don't even get to see what's on it. He like almost purposefully lunges past you guys and gets it straight into Naveen's hand, and he looks and goes, "How do you serve?" Very well. I'll make sure that it's done.
Don't know what that word is.
He says to keep it secret on the paper, so I guess that must be
I'm sure it's fine.
Of course.
We won't
Wait,
pay
you
less
guys look
consequences.
down at Kettle Whistle. The two of you look down at Kettle Whistle, and you two door. He looks at you guys and goes, and then just walks away and goes, like, let the captain do it. The captain.
I won't have any
Like,
lasting
you had a fun time?
consequences.
Well, if there is nothing more for me, I will get right to doing the normal maintenance on your ship. I'll make sure all the barnacles are scraped off, the bright polish, and anything else is required. We will do just like the rest is commanded, and we will proceed with the purchase to replace the sails and the moor. We will get to anchor on the port side. Something on here said that you wanted a second tail cannon. I'm assuming that we are going to move the one that is directly in the middle back to one of the
So
sides.
one on top of the other.
I don't think it works
One
that
on
way.
top of the other. Come on, you're smart.
I'm smart, but I'm not manufacturer. I don't make it the way it's made. It's got one
Step on
thing.
top of the top of the
I'm
other.
assuming one left and one to the right. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Would you
come
like it on the
on.
corner sides of the back, or would you like them sort of semi-center?
One on top of the other.
You know, if we're gonna do that, I would suggest maybe adding the two more on that. Because just one.
Say, I'll see that it's done. We'll get four, two on the corner, two in the center.
One on top of the
And
other.
a makeshift platform.
Yeah.
For what?
Shut her up.
Oh, okay. Of course.
I feel
Oh,
like
and
but I don't know
door,
why.
please. And he pulls out something else from the inside of his garment. It looks like sort of like a sealed leather envelope almost, with a bit of a tie in it. He hands it over to you. Both you know what this is, and you kind of get a little excited to see how he reacts. This is a gift for me as a welcome to the gate. It is the new type of currency that we have here at the gate. Welcoming to the fine crew, and hope you spend it wisely and enjoy yourself here.
Raven Buster.
You open the sleeve and look inside, and it's a very strange paper script that has sigils of the gate. $1 bill. You know,
It's
based
$1.
off of the Baldur's Gate sigil. It's unique currency that can only be spent within the gate. Obviously, in your head, you go, "It's not gold,"
Oh, I was about to say.
but it has the same worth.
Well, the speed you just spend.
Roll 2d100.
That's just company script. It's like we're in Vegas. That's just a poker chip. You need to like
Wait.
work with poker chip.
Well,
It's worthless everywhere else.
I was gonna say it's worthless
just
anywhere
like
else
a
except the gate.
just like a casino.
But it's not for gambling and making more money, it's for spending. It's specifically for spending.
It's gonna be 160.
It's not like
So you get 160 script
Sure.
to blow while you're here. Obviously you can use other currency as well, but this can only be spent within the gate. So he bows appropriately, turns around, speaks Draconic to the guards, who are also all Dragonborn, and they make off with the writs to get things done.
Kind of weird.
As soon as he is off the ship, you note from the stairway into the crew quarters, her head kind of.
Is everything okay?
He smelled
He's
He's gone.
Okay. He smelled the list though? Does he do that normally? Is that
I'm gonna let him work with that.
unfortunately?
What is his obsession with you?
Drexus walks up slowly behind her as she looks nervous, and he's got the most looking like a shit-eating grin, like sort of just like like he has, yeah. He
Same.
loves this.
I don't know what it is, but it seems most men have a desire for her, and I, for the life of me, don't understand why.
It's 'cause he's gay.
Neither can I.
He's scared.
Oh, I'm sorry, where's it European?
Nice. Yes. Legally blood pressure.
Another very happy moment of me going, I'm glad we are 18 and over. Woo! Might lose some viewership on that one. We got 7 subscribers. Play your words carefully, man. We might lose 5 of them after tonight.
All five.
If they know what this one makes, all 3.
Oh,
We all get along, right?
we probably need to keep it 18 plus.
Yeah.
Why were all the you guys get mad at me for asking why if all the Genasi know each other, but all of those gods are dragonborn?
They work
That's
together.
something. No,
They
that's
work
something. No. Why are all the
Let
guys shaggable?
me put it this way.
That's
No,
stereotyping. That's
you,
profiling.
Ayla,
the majority
roll
of our crew
a
are
history check for me.
Doesn't mean everyone on the ship knew each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's I get in trouble for racial profiling, but the city of Baldur doesn't get in trouble for racial profiling.
Not racial profiling.
They're racially profiling. They're gods.
Dragonborn.
You're racially profiling them.
It makes
Nope,
sense.
this is double standards. You guys are pulling them on me. I know exactly what's going on in the government
13.
conversation.
So you're able to answer Max real quick with they're an entire tribe.
Understand.
That's what they work together. It's straight up an entire tribe of people that work as the military.
Let's just go.
I listen.
I have an answer to your question.
Jesus Christ.
Well, it seems to be that they're all they,
Whatever, it's fun. It's all good.
they're all from the same tribe. Basically, they're all somewhat family. They come from the same place.
All right.
That's
Oh,
possible.
yeah, that makes
There
sense.
you
All right.
Oh, it's possible.
Oh lord.
See me, you have a lot to learn.
You guys are about to make off dock to do your duties when you hear the whistle of the captain behind you, Max. And he seems to have sort of a serious position to himself a moment before you take off.
Sure.
You walk over to him, everybody else is out of earshot, you see him saying something to her, and you notice that her, usually very pleasant disposition, changes, shifts, looks at you, and Maria says, it's not like it has to take really private, just in character this. After this month of shore leave, I want to make sure that you notice the crew, make sure you take your chances to do everything that you want to. Because we're going to be going off board for quite a while. It's going to be a long, arduous journey after this, so I want to make sure everybody's ready. And then he puts his hand on your shoulder and goes, make sure you do everything that you feel you need to while you're here before we take off. And his voice changes to a very serious tone and goes, there's a chance that we may not be back at the gate for even longer after this. Make sure all your affairs are in order before we leave, right? Make
Yes,
sure
sir.
the crew knows the same.
Yes, sir.
Alright, I'm off to see the lords. Apparently they had business with me. Enjoy the 30 days.
Good luck, sir.
The look on her
You too.
face means we think he used a big word.
She turns around and walks back to you guys, and the captain walks past all of you and goes, enjoy the month off, crew. Continues to walk right past you with no real acknowledgement. He pats your shoulder and says, good luck. And continues on.
Well, shall we be off? Have you been to the gate before door? Gate before door. Anyways.
Oh my god.
No, you can never know you're freaking out. Well done, Rick! That was good. Well done. I appreciate that. That was quite good.
Thank you.
On my hands.
It should not cause you visible.
Causes me some
No, like I told that god, every time I tried to come near, I kind of got shot at.
Sure. Big pirates, right. All right.
Those cannons up are.
They're called pirates.
What pirates?
What pirates?
That's gonna stick.
They,
That's gonna be around for the rest of the campaign.
Absolutely.
Every time you heard the fire here, they're like, those are stupid butt pirates.
They took off your whole mass?
twice.
How many ships mass have? Wait, how many mass do ships have?
It depends on how the size of the ship.
No smaller than the Sovereign.
That sounds kind of sad, actually. Sometimes it makes me sad when I talk to you, Tom.
Are you sure you're a notorious captain?
Well, he made a comment earlier. He made a comment earlier. If we asked him if he was a liar, he says the only people who lie about me are the ones who tell my stories. So there's a chance that he actually did own a big ship in a fleet. It was probably a dinghy.
He's
And the three people who shared it
yeah.
flew overboard. One of the doors
There's one monkey.
was complete lock.
One monkey is
Oh yeah, it
also
wasn't even part of his ship. Like it was literally just like some random door he found on them.
Yes! Thank you! Gods of the sea have granted me a boon! It's a door!
It's an opportunity.
So, you have 1 month leave. Now, as far as the campaign campaign is concerned, I would like the team to kind of talk it out of character for a minute and decide for yourselves whether you would want that 1 month to be role played out, so that we could have a bunch of fun little misadventures and development of character at the gate,
Yes.
or if you would like to sort of quickly roll acquisitions and misadventures in here, and then get right to going back to the ship and beginning the quote-unquote pirate's life.
Nope. Fun adventures.
It's up to you on what you guys want to do to make this take a little bit longer, or to get right into the meat of your first real pirate mission.
No,
I
want
think-
to have some
Yeah, I wanna learn about
No,
these.
I was gonna say
Development.
we need character development.
Yeah.
Okay, so other than 3 or 4 members of the crew, all of you are on 1 month shore leave. So that means over 50 of you have now been let loose into the land, into the streets of the gate. You are not allowed to leave the gate. Everything that's going to happen is going to be within Baldur's. And again, you are not allowed to commit any crime while you're here. If you do commit crime, oh boy, we're going to have some fun. But there's going to be some serious consequences or danger should you
Moral
do so.
crimes.
That does not mean you cannot get into mischief. It just means you can't commit any crimes.
That's self-defense.
Well, but again, as long as you don't commit crimes, obviously there are plenty of troublemakers in the gate. And being pirates, you're probably affiliated with certain amounts of these troublemakers. So there are plenty of opportunities to quote unquote make some mischief or get into some scenarios. You just have to be
Is a
clever.
bar fight considered a crime?
It really just depends on how it starts and who ends it.
Never.
So, because this is a neutral zone, this is not, even the law itself is considered true neutral. So, there's not really a moral code of well, he insulted me and me mum, and the other guy goes, well, so since he insulted me and me mum, I retaliated with a knuckle to the face. The Lord Viscount of that area could go, as justified, no penalty. Another Viscount could go, that was a dick move, fine him 50 gold. Can't pay it, into the jail with you. It's really, it's neutral zones, so it's very compartmentalized and justified in that scenario in that zone. You've never been to a place like this before, it's all going to be fresh to you, but they understand, you guys understand full well how it works here. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. You bite me, you're probably going to get bit back. So it's very karma-esque here, and so you know that if you're going to get into trouble, you fully understand that could get you into double's worth trouble back to you. So you know those consequences before you get into it. Dora's gonna have to learn that unless you guys tell him about it.
Let him learn.
And that'll keep an interesting scenario. However, you guys are gonna quickly do your duties, and now you have that 1 month.
Cool.
You have all decided to share with one another. The officers are typically sharing their time off with one another because you guys don't have necessarily family or things outside of just some well-known people that you may know in the gate, people that you like to visit, say hi to, maybe play games with at night, things like that. So most of the time you spend time with one another and have that relaxation with one another, unless you specifically want to have a moment of privacy. So you've invited Dora to do the same thing. He's part of the officers club, so of course you can join in. Dora, because this is all brand new to you, you kind of feel like a lost puppy. Mm-hmm. You hesitantly accept because again you're not quite used to that, but you know that they mean well, and you could get lost in the city and get in trouble real fast without somebody who knows their way around. So it's also tactfully the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
So role play it out. After you fill your duties, make sure the requisition forms are getting filled out. You've made the barters, you've traded the spices and everything else, and everything's going smoothly to where you get it all done on the first day, so that it's only about maybe 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. The night's still young, obviously. What would you guys like to do?
It's cool. Getting shit done.
Oh, where's the nearest tavern? I could use a drink.
I could use a bet.
I could use a punch in the face. Let's go.
I mean, I can do that for you.
Well, I mean, it's more fun if it's like a competition or whatever, you know.
Okay. Nice.
It's,
I'm sorry, you'll never get me to compete with you in bets.
I wanted to punch you in the face so bad.
Pretty sure if you punched me in the face, my head would be over there.
I think you would die.
No, it would be over there, and then a little bit over there.
kind of all over the place on my fist a little bit.
Yeah.
It would be very pretty.
Go direct sis, roll a d20 for me.
Well, it would not.
No, it would be ugly.
whatsoever.
I wanna go
No.
die.
And I'm not even lying to you because it's like I've seen it happen.
That's a 3.
Oh, it's ugly.
It's like
Great.
a melon.
So you know of a really good pub nearby. It's called the Daggerford Bar.
It makes me want to puke sometimes
for
when I do it.
Phoenix.
But then I remember that
fights.
it's cool,
Good.
so it's okay.
Go ahead and
Oh,
slowly kind of inch
I'm
my way
not-
away
I'm
from them.
I'm not gonna tell you
Wait,
guys
can I
about
notice
Well,
the
they were
time
asking about it.
I
You're not
managed
serving
to
them that information.
shoot a guy
Can I
Gotta
notice
make like
him
a tree
leaving?
leaf.
Can I
go
try and
into
see
the
if he
hull
does?
of the next ship over.
That's gruesome.
Max, what's your passive perception?
0.
Negative. I can't see.
She is blind.
It's 11.
And,
She's like a horse with blinds. She can only see directly in front of Randy since the cyber.
It's
It's 11.
never.
11.
Perception, it'd be a 15?
15. So the two of you note the common issue at the gate, like always.
Oh.
Drexus is trying to sneak off yet again.
I'm gonna grab the back of him.
Okay.
Can I grab him by the legs? I want to grab him by the legs.
She reaches down, grabs you by the legs, and literally lifts you to where your head is now near the ground, and she's holding you up by your boot.
Now, where do you think you're going?
Your head dangling near hers as it swings back and forth.
This conversation's boring.
So you're hanging upside down. It's gonna be kind of fun, right?
Put me down.
Mm-mm.
Or
No,
I will
answer the
cripple
questions.
you.
She asked you a question.
I was gonna say, Albion would make that threat. Drexus knows not to make that threat. Drexus goes, no, remember last time when you tried to break something and we got broken? Don't threaten Max. Max will take it up. She'll be like, oh boy, snappy time. She'll pull a Bane and Batman on here.
Just shush. Now, where were you going? Where the both of you were going?
Tavern.
Which
We all
one?
wanted to go to the
A tavern.
Speak up, man.
Poke your cheek.
Make a persuasion check, Ayla.
Witness.
That's an
Oh my god.
Okay, so you cannot resist your lover's charm. She's too freaking cute for her own
I'm
good.
like looking
You
away.
have to say out loud.
I have him upside down, but I'm like,
Dapper horn bar.
Daverhorn Bar.
Alright, let's go.
I drop him in a pot. I just drop him. I just drop him.
Well, that sounds like
Acrobatics check, Drexus.
that one. Goes through the ground.
Whoa.
You hear like a crack.
He's dead. He died. I killed him.
We're going to Daggerford Bar. He's going to
He's
the hospital.
So, he starts to fall. His hands hit before his head does. He collapses into a barrel, stands up, and goes,
Badass.
and looks at you like, I can't say it. He wants to. Drexus wants to, but he can't.
Alright, gross. Come on.
Right?
Alright, nasty. Let's go.
I'm going to drink
straight
one.
love. Ew, straight love.
You hetero.
Well then, SPD, should we go?
The worst curse on planet Earth is called hetero.
Breeders. Anyways.
Whoa!
That was wonderful. Thank you. Guys, remember, take notes when you can. Dapperhorn Bar is the name of this place. Take notes far and often of names and people and places because you may come back in the future and you would look like a right asshole if you didn't remember something
Do
about
that
someone
anyways.
or someplace. Makes like, well, I mean, I'm
Just
stupid.
supposed to do that.
I have the right to forget, not like any of you.
Did
You guys-
get,
You guys make your way over to the Dapperhorn Bar. 3-story pub.
Oh.
It's not an inn. It's not a tavern. It is not a place of homestead. It is just a bar.
Yeah.
3 stories of bars. There's a bar on the first floor. There's a bar on the second floor. There's a bar on the third floor. Each one based off of a different type of region within Faerûn.
Aw,
West
that's
Coast
cute.
is West Coast, the one that you guys are all on, is the base floor. Midlands are on the second floor, and the Far East is on the top floor. The other thing to understand is obviously with that in mind, the farther you go up, the more expensive it gets due to import. So cheap stuff is on the bottom floor, decently priced is in the middle, expensive shit's on the top. Always crowded, but never crowded enough to where there aren't open tables or seats.
Not that we can't make some.
If you guys were to spend time at a pub, where would you go? To a table or to the bar?
The bar.
Bar.
Table.
bar.
I'd look at the strongest motherfucker in that place,
Make
and
a
I would
perception.
challenge him.
Make a perception check real quick.
I can't find my D20, so I know there's 3 of them in here. Here's one. 9 plus 1 is a 10. I have eyeballs.
I mean, I said I
I'm
want to
in
start
a bar,
betting. Like,
I
I can scope out one for her.
I
You note as you walk into the bar a absolutely enormous Goliath in full place in the far end, and it's actually an old friend of yours, a guy by the name of Cortamil.
Can't beat his ass. How do I
He is
spell
not Cortamil, a Cortumil, Cortamil. He is a sellsword. He is not part of the Gate military or anything. He's just a hired hand, a land pirate, as you like to call him. And you have been in many a tussle and fight with this guy because you want to prove that you're just as tough as the Goliaths are or any other big boy. And he loves you to death because, as far as he's concerned, you are just as tough as a Goliath or any other big guy. You see him, and he's busy arm wrestling and breaking the arms out of several other individuals with the pub, making money like a bank line open as he's just big old dragonborn, no problem. You two recognize Cortamil as well. You've met him on several occasions, and you know if Cortamil's here, a bar fight's not going to be far behind because you know that Max is going to run over there, and the first thing she's going to do is probably deck him in the back of the head to just start something.
What was it? How do you spell it?
Cortumil, Cortamil. A Goliath in full plate. But he's a sellsword. He is not security of the gate. So, how do you want to approach him? What do you do?
I walk up and I say, I didn't know they let scum like you into Baldur's Gate.
Okay, while she does that, you said you wanted to approach the bar. And did you tell me where you were going to do?
I was gonna go ahead and go to the bar.
Okay, cool. So everybody else goes to the bar with the exception of Robert. You guys go to the bar. Lovely elven maiden, fine corset dress, lace. Obviously meant to be an eye catcher. Lovely makeup and stuff is at the front. And she goes, "Welcome to the Dapper."
No, I want to hear your best woman voice. Talk in a woman voice.
Welcome to the Dapper, ladies and gentlemen. How can I help you?
Sounds like a pervert.
Hey, Chris.
Welcome to the Dapper! How can I help you?
There we go.
No, fuck you.
Come on.
You made me say the bad word. Screw you. You made me say the bad word. Damn it. Again. How can I help?
Yeah. Draw to your finest whiskey, please.
Of course. And for you, lovelies. Makes eyes to Robert.
Ooh.
I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a while. How are you?
Do you two know each other?
Only as a customer.
Gross.
Strictly.
The oldest profession.
I don't
Bring in
believe
your
that at
favorites.
all.
And for you, lovelies.
Light wine, please.
The usual.
Your table's over there. She gives a slight wink and walks to the back. All of a sudden you hear, "You right, bitch!" And the Goliath stands up, turns around, and decks her straight in the cheek. Roll d20 for me real quick.
Oh.
Actually, no. Give me your AC. What's your AC?
It is 15.
15. So he goes for a punch. You duck underneath it, just barely. And how are you going to counter back?
I just punch him right in the crotch.
Go ahead and roll d20 for
Oh
that as well.
my god!
Go ahead and roll for a d20 there.
I just saw Mortal Kombat 11's the X-ray where his nuts pop.
Plus
That'd be straight.
4, so 10.
10, that does not hit either. So you try to go for a heel spread and goes, "No, last time, not this time." And he full on tackles you and you guys get into a tussle. Immediately, a little gnome carrying a plate goes, "You take that shit outside! You're not gonna break tables like you did last time. Get out!" Walks over and literally grabs you both by like the seat of your pants. and Cortamil goes, all right. And he's just shaking his head. "No questions, nothing from you tall fucking talking trees. Get out of my bar!" And he kind of tosses you guys just outside the pub, the open pub way.
How did he do that?
You gotta tumble in the stove for a minute. And Cortamil turns around and goes, all right, Taryn, you don't have to go and pull me pants up.
He does that
Almost
every
insulting, wasn't he?
time. It is. I don't know how he does it
Not
either.
fair.
He's been working out since I saw him
He's
last.
trying to go, "You two talking towers, better get your shit done out here and then come in for a drink, not before." Talking to you, redhead.
Come on, it's just a little bit of light wrestling.
Speak for yourself, Cherry Picker. Just get it over with.
And then I turn and I duck. Quarter mile.
Obviously, this man just said like 3 very racist things automatically, which puts you on edge immediately.
A little bit racist.
Oh boy.
It's
But-
not
but-
Bumper's gay.
It seems like she at least knows him. Shuffles back in, sees you guys, immediately makes blazing eyes at you, making you uncomfortable. Shuffles over to you and goes, "What up, bedwetter?"
Nice to see you too, mi amigo.
By the way, his name is Taryn. Taryn Wiggins.
Oh, good old Taryn Wiggins.
He is the proprietor, the owner of the bar.
I feel like there's a story behind that.
Tarin.
Tarin Wiggins.
What is he?
He's a gnome,
Gotcha.
and he's the owner of the Dapper Hat. You said there's a story behind it. He immediately snaps his head over to you. Wesley looks you up and down and goes, "And what's this bucket of salt water?"
Racist.
I think he's freshwater actually.
Where do you think I learned it from?
No, it looks like he's got mold in him.
That's a little hurtful.
You're buying from my pub, aren't you?
I don't know.
I can say what I want. Shut up. Unless you want to be kicked out.
That's real good mold.
I expect you're here for the usual.
Absolutely.
Stay away from my marriage. Jackass. Looks over at you.
Don't do.
You get it,
really
you don't
caused
do
you that
women.
much trouble.
Shut your mouths.
For that one,
I'm here for the same thing.
first round's on me.
Thank you.
Insults every single one of you in
Alright.
some racist way. And he looks over at Drexus and goes,
Alright.
Drexus.
Alright.
Turns around and walks away.
Expensive whiskey.
The elf maiden comes back with your guys' drinks, rather somber look in her face and goes, "Don't let what Mr. Wiggins says get to you. He's racist to anybody taller than him." He continues to pass you guys the
So it
rest
must
of your
be
drinks.
everybody.
It wasn't me today.
Drexus kind of showed him up in a gambling game once, and he's always had the respect of him ever since, but good luck trying to do that. Robert keeps on trying to
Albion.
I don't plan on trying. Not much for gambling.
She pulls out of her cleavage a little coin pocket. Drinks on me, boys. Enjoy.
Oh, absolutely not. Drinks on me tonight.
I have to thank you for what you did last time because you didn't let me. So by all means, drinks on me this time.
That's on my head.
Drinks over here. Oh, and I have your usual supplies in the back whenever you're ready.
Witchcraft.
Actually, it's perfumes and fine scents.
No, well, I wasn't inside to say that.
The things that she likes to keep in her cupboards to make her still be a lady on the seas.
Thank
Went,
Your perfume is sweat!
That's bust.
Your freaking incense is estrogen!
As it should be. It's only natural.
No.
Make another
Sweat
d20 a strength roll for me, Meg.
Freaking 8. So
You rolled a 17 plus 6, so you guys are tussling in the muddy streets, laughing it up. He gets you in a super hardcore headlock, and you know that you've fallen into it hard. You should have seen this coming, but you didn't. And
Uncle,
you're bad.
Uncle.
He goes, "Louder, louder! I want the gate to hear you!"
Alright, fine, I
And
give
he
it
drops you,
alright.
smacks your ass so hard, and goes, "Gotcha!"
Fuck you.
Gets up. All right, come on. Gets you up. You guys slam your arms super hard, big old clap. Like it's a loud just clap of muscle on muscle. Good to see you again, Max, as usual. Let me buy you a drink now.
Alright, come on, let's get on with it then.
Why do you keep on? I keep on telling you, there's an open market for muscles like yours as a free
Yeah,
sword.
I'm
Why stay on the ship?
No, a bloody sellsword ain't worth nothing to us. You know
I
that.
got a full plate set of armor, and you see that bag of gold on the side?
Do you
That's just
feel
from
good?
arm
Do
wrestling
you
today.
feel good about what you're doing?
That's so
well, shit, I
freaking
can't
lovely.
change your moral code now, can I?
Alright, okay, morals are morals, I get it. Is the rest of the crew
I
here?
got stuff to fulfill. Yeah, lots of them are here. Everybody's here.
Take a moment to look around. Oi! Featherhead!
I told you.
What happened to nobody else calls you that?
Can it, witch?
I do it, mate.
How are you?
Walks over and gives a nice firm handshake, but not like
doing anything crazy like she does. No, not as much. Good to see you and the rest of you again. How are you, love? How are you, boy?
Gordon, meet our newest addition.
Oh, fresh meat.
Yeah.
Big dude, tons of scars on his face. This guy looks like a giant Kratos, but in full plate. Like he's just this big, war-painted, massive Goliath. No weapon though, just plate and bare hands. His bare hands are scarred the F up.
Been a while since I've seen one as big as you.
And you won't see another one as big as me again for a good long time. Most
Hey,
of us stick up
hey.
to the north.
Quit flirting with Cordamel. Me and him used to be something back
My
when-
heart only belongs to you,
As it
Maxie.
should be. As it should.
Ah, there.
Shut up, Drexus.
Oh, that was Albion.
Oh,
Alright.
whatever.
The last one that was as big as you was part of my crew.
Oh, really? You were
was
you were
the
captain
monkey.
once.
Ah.
No, Cordamel.
Oh. Yes,
It's a bit of a touchy subject with him, really.
Oh,
It
sorry.
was a while.
Well, you've been into a good crew now. This is some of the finest group of skin I've ever met. These guys have put me out of. You got me out of quite a few pickles back in the day.
It was
Especially Robert here. He's gotten me out of quite a few. Shut up.
Well,
Whichever one you are. Listen, after the. Hold on. Yep. After the thing that happened with me and my sister, you think you have the right to speak to me like that? It's only the only reason why you're allowed to still talk to me in appropriate purposes is because I like her.
What'd you do to Bethany?
Bethany.
Yeah, what did you do to Bethany?
The issue was
Physical?
no.
You beat her at arm wrestling and traumatized her for
Yeah.
So it was
He
physical.
broke He
I
paralyzed her from the waist down.
might have made my village a whole back.
You dog.
I'm sorry.
To
about
be
your
fair,
sister.
she did say something that offended the other one.
Doesn't matter, it's water
Could
under
say
the
it was a
bridge.
raw dog.
She tells me to forgive him, I do my best, we'll just keep it at that. Long story short, fresh meat. Put together with a fine, fine crew. Including this one. I mean, I like him, still respect him though. You have a fine crew here, and you'll do real well. Real well.
It's funny because a lot of people like him, they don't respect him.
Same
Goes
from
to
you?
Ooh.
Thanks, Double Trouble. Appreciate that.
You need some
Or
ice for that
triple,
one?
I'm sorry.
You need some ice for that one?
I,
Ooh.
That
I'm
reminds
not
me.
quite sure where I stand
Ice.
with him, but okay.
Quarterbill, you guys are like, grocery. Quarterbill looks around at you guys again as a big old tanker comes out for him, and he slides it over to Max and then brings out another one and goes, so how long you guys are at the gate for this time?
30 days.
30 days!
Whole lot of time for us to get in
Captain's
trouble.
giving you a lot of free leash this
Yeah.
time, huh?
Yeah. Well
He's
deserved
Whoa!
too.
He's got something big planned, I think, so.
Don't remind me.
It's exciting, yeah.
At that case, I hope to see a lot more of you while you're here.
At least 3 or 4 times a week, sure.
Don't you mean more of her?
Gonna lean into Ayla's character with a bit of a smile on his face and goes, you gotta go meet the lady while you're here.
You know it.
That should be fun. Well, welcome to the gate. I hope I see nothing of you while you're here, because other than at the bar, if I'm seeing you, that means that somebody's probably written a contract against you. So, and if I do see you outside of the bar, and we has a problem, I really hope Max is there to help settle things.
Well, let me tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever get a contract for a door, or like the bar door, take out that one first.
Door! Get it?
You know what? I could pretend to be stupid enough to actually believe that, and I'll do that just for your sake. I'll do that just for your sake.
Thank you, kind
Goliaths
Do it also for turns.
Goliaths are known to be dumb. Oh, I forgot this is Wiggins joined in there.
Yeah. How'd you forget he threw us out the door 10 minutes
Because he's
ago?
so small.
You can't say it.
Midget.
You can't say
I mean, I have to
cool.
look down at most. I have to look down at most tears. Imagine looking straight down at my toes to see something.
You can
Wiggins
see-
is not small.
You can see your
I'm gonna
toes.
use here. Ah!
Right,
and immediately Cordell
We all
looks
remember.
over, he gives he grants you a kiss on the cheek and says, "See, look," and he takes off. Taryn is running with a tiny little mallet and goes, "You get out of here, you cumulus clown, before I kick your knees in!" Takes off. Takes off immediately.
You can't reach his knees!
Looks back and goes, "Which one of you called me little?"
Him.
I swear to God, you climate changers, I'm gonna put you 3 tiers down lower than a rainforest.
I'm sorry, was Rainforest racist to you? In what way?
No, he just knows one thing.
Hmm.
I'm here too.
I don't give a crap about who you
Forgive-
are.
forgive me.
Yes.
Well, reasons.
Forgive me, Jackson. That's just the alcohol's starting to get to me a little bit. Yeah.
No, it's
You only
supposed
have
to be
one.
So,
I've had several.
how tall are you exactly?
Oh, he's
Seems like
already
we only
shuffled
have
off, rumbling to himself
He's
a
such a
million miles an
lightweight.
hour.
Is that a bet?
Oh no.
Drinking.
No,
Fine.
I'm a little
Come
more
on.
sophisticated than you
No,
are.
come on. You haven't started it.
Drinking game.
Let's
Come
do
on.
this.
I challenged a lot of you, except for you. I challenged a lot of you.
Wants to put chance on the line. Drinking game.
I
No,
can't.
no
That'd be
chance
cheating.
dice.
Oh,
Yes.
Drinking game.
yes.
Just for fun.
Pick a color,
I have
and
to stay.
if the majority is in your color, you stay sober.
Oh,
No, you need to roll all 4. Each
All
of you have
four?
to take a turn.
I do not partake in this.
So, red or blue?
blue.
I can't. Blue, go.
He said I can't.
Blue, you stay sober. Mark,
Red.
what's the majority?
Red.
Red, stay sober. Okay.
All right.
Red or blue?
What if I just roll and
Red or blue?
half and half. No.
She's a cheater. We're gonna
Let's
get used
go
to this one real quick.
with the red.
Oh! She's still beating you guys in her soberness. One more time around. Red or blue?
I'm gonna go blue again. Oh,
Half and half.
Oh.
Roll again. But you're starting to feel it a little bit.
Yeah.
Half and half.
Okay, so you're starting to feel it a little bit, Robert.
I'm perfect halves.
Red.
There's a red out here.
Half and
Half,
half.
Half and half.
Oh
You're starting to
my
feel a little
God.
bit. Roll one more time.
Red.
Red.
Red. Okay, so you're holding your better a little bit better than Dora. Max.
All right. I'll go with blue.
A very depressed Drake sits over in the corner sobbing as he drinks tea.
Half and half.
No, I'm still drinking light. I can't partake because everyone's gonna call me.
You're
cheating.
sipping on gin and juice, like sobbing to yourself.
That's 3 blues.
And you call which one?
Blue.
Blue. Okay, so after a mode of drinking without blowing all your cash, the victor ends up being Max. The two of you start to obviously see that you're tipsy. You don't waste to the floor. You're not drinking till you die. But when you guys start to show obvious signs of being drunk, Max looks over at Rosa and goes, "I'm not tipsy, right? I'm not tipsy, right?" And you're like, "No, you're not." And she goes, "Ha ha! You're both tipsy. I'm not tipsy."
Bitches.
Now,
They're worse
Fair,
off
she's
than you
bigger.
I thump you on the head.
you guys each lose 15 gold, so for you 30 silver to her.
Yep,
I know
pay
where
up,
I
pay up.
lost.
Come on. Yep.
There you go.
Thank you, boys. Yep. All right. Thank you.
I have better things to spend my money on at this current time and place.
You're just not
If I
playing
joined,
'cause
you
you
guys
know
would
you
consider
win.
me cheating.
Yeah, it's cheating.
Absolutely.
No, you don't know why that's cheating.
He's got an iron liver. I'm not even talking about, as a, turn of phrase.
No,
or
it's actually iron.
It's
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
iron.
yeah.
How it filters, no one knows. It's some kind of elvish magic.
Okay.
Yeah, you
No,
punch him in the
it's
gut.
not
you feel
elvish
it really.
magic. It's something else.
It might as well be.
So- So, laughing about having a meal, drinking, winning money, gambling, arm wrestling a little bit, and exchanging a few words with the lovely barmaids, and avoiding a certain dragonborn guard. You guys have begun your first day at the gates. 4 more weeks of frivolity, jocularity, and mischief wait for you in the future as you prepare to let loose and enjoy yourself for once in a very long time, including Dor, who has just begun to experience this side of his life. Unknown to you guys, this is probably going to be the last time for a very long time that you will enjoy something like this. And that is where we end tonight's story, and where we officially begin the voyage of the Sovereign. Thank you all so much for watching. We're going to be trying to do this every Thursday night from 6 to 10 as best as possible. We started a little late tonight because we had to set things up and get things going. But we plan to try and do this either every Thursday or every other Thursday. The announcements will come a little earlier than normal. You can expect to see on YouTube. If you like what you see, we would please encourage you to subscribe, like what you see. If you have any questions or comments or things you would like to see happen, please send a comment here or send it to noafdt@gmail.com, and that link will be in the description below as well for you guys to send comments. We're finally in it, guys. Finally doing it. Finally being our characters,
Yes.
and you guys seem like a right chaotic group of people. This is gonna be really good. And Wesley, you ran out of this on the skin of your freaking. They were getting ready to slit your throat and throw you like you were on by the skin of your teeth. By the skin of your teeth. I rolled for the captain to save your butt, and I barely got the approval number on that. So you kept yourself from dying on the first episode to the pleasure of Ayla, who spent all that time drawing a character and may have had to draw another one if you had died. So well done. And I hope you guys are ready for next Thursday.
Already.
Yeah.
Continue
Let's
this
contract.
journey
Let's go.
already.
Right?
Yeah, let's just skip to next Thursday. We're all gonna
Let's do the time
Jax is gonna have one with that
To jump
dragonborn.
to the
who
left.
knows, we'll see. I mean, you guys are here for a month. All sorts of crazy things could go down.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys all so much for watching. We will catch you guys real soon. I love you all. And stay
Bye.
nerdy, my friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, that was good, guys. That was real good. Crazy son of bitches.